Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks show. I'm coming to you live from Barbados. Beautiful, beautiful Barbados. How was your Sunday? I am trusting you had a really peaceful day, that all is well with you and your family. Let me hear in the comment section how your day was. Did you have a good day? Did you have a restful day? How was your day? Let me hear. Let me get some comments in the comment section. Let me hear from you how your day was. How was your day? I'm trusting you had a very restful day. Did you get some rest today? Wow. Well, for me, I must say I didn't get a chance to go in my garden, which I am accustomed to doing. I didn't get to do it this time around today, but I still had a great day. I had a time of rest, and it was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. We did hear the news of a car running off the road in the um, road race that they had. That's what I'm calling the motor race. And But we are grateful that no one died. I was holding my breath on that one, so I'm very, very happy that no one died. And we heard that there were injuries, but I am happy you're alive today. You're alive today. We are here together today. We are here together. And I just want to thank God for all of us that's here on this live today. Every day we get up, Tironi, we have to give God thanks for life, for strength. Listen, we can stretch. Yeah. We stretch our hands up. We feel alive. Yes, Julian. Yes, a fantastic day. We press on regardless of what is happening around us. We are desirous to press on. We are pressing on. Hi, Tony. Good evening. The motor rally. Yes. Oh, yes. And we thank God. So many lives could have been lost, but we are so grateful, aren't we? We are super, super, super grateful for life tonight, that we are well, and that we're not here mourning on here tonight. Judy, good evening. Good evening, Lucinda. Good evening. It was great to see you yesterday. What a day we had, Bajan Boy, Enoch. What a day, Pauline Holder. Good evening, Emilia. Good evening, Alfia McCrary. Good evening. Wow, Black Coolie. I hate to call that name. Black Coolie 39. Good evening. Oh my word. Oh my word. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. And this is Queen Bee. Good evening. Oh, wonderful. Mystic Angel, how are you? Good evening. Oh my goodness. Monica Inns, good evening. Jacqueline, Aline, good evening. Mavis Lashley, a pleasant good evening to you, Mavis. Bonnie Springer, Marcia. Hey, Sunny. Angela. Alvin Swimson. Listen, Nigel Carrington, it was so great to see so many of you yesterday. Folks, that was beautiful. That was beautiful yesterday. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You know what? Yes, yes, yes. And awesome, awesome, awesome. Mildred, good night. Oh my word. Good night, good night, good night. Yes, that's us gathering. Yes, yes. Thank you, Dave. Oh, hey, Victor. I miss you, Victor Lewis. Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis. Oh, wow. Awesome. Awesome. Diana Husbands and Shirley, good evening. Ellen Ashby, good evening. Oh, Lord. Awesome, 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 guys. It is so great. It's so great. It is so great. It is so great to be here with you tonight, with everyone tonight. This is a real joy. It is joy to be here. I am excited to be here with you tonight, and we're going to have a great show tonight, folks. We're going to talk about some of what's happening with our young people. We're going to go a little bit more on Jemmotts Lane. We're going to touch on a little bit of everything tonight. But I want to feature two of our young people tonight. One is now no longer with us, and one is has a case in court. And I want to feature those two young persons tonight. I want us to look at them tonight. And we're going to talk about CBC. Glenn Murray will be on, and he will be speaking to us about CBC. So listen out for that. And we have someone who's coming on to talk to us about their something that they're doing for young people, athletics, and how much they need our help. And we're going to remind you of the porridge project in Kenya as well. Okay, we have so much to talk about. We have to talk about what we're going to do, what's going to happen to our country. We are seeing the blood that is just flowing in our streets. You know, every time we turn around, somebody is stabbed somebody. They're gunshots. It's almost like we're at breaking point. Today, when I saw the WhatsApp message about the rally and the car that ran into the people, I mean, when I saw it running into the people, I screamed out. I didn't expect that to happen, but I tell you, guys, that something is happening in Barbados. What is it? What is happening in this beautiful country? Something is going on beyond us. And so tonight we want to talk about this breaking point that we're at. Is Barbados at a breaking point? What is going on with our beautiful country? Well, before we do that, we're going to play the national anthem, okay? And I'm going to ask you to stand at attention to the national anthem. You guys, and I'm seated because I had a little challenge. I didn't have my flag per usual. We were frantically trying to fix some challenges. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. We are live. This is live TV, so all kinds of things happen. Can you actually hear me? If you can hear me, let me know if you can hear me. Yes, yes, it's telling me that my mic is not connected, but can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. I've seen thumbs up that they can hear me. Yes, 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 yes. Wonderful. Now, folks, yesterday, okay, you can hear me loud. Okay, good. Thank you, Steve Moore. Folks, I want to say thank you to every single one of you who came out yesterday. Every one of you came out yesterday. We were at from liquidation center, and we went past Savvy, and then we went over to St. Patrick's Cathedral Catholic Church right there on the car park, and had a beautiful time of togetherness. And wonderful speeches. People just came up. We had an open mic as usual. And you know what is so amazing, people? You know what is so amazing? What is so amazing is to see Barbadians coming up to that microphone and speaking. Do you know that about 2.5 years ago, when we started to do that, that people didn't want to come up to the microphone to speak? Who knows that? People didn't want to come up. I remember we had to resort to getting speakers. But let me tell you, things have changed. Things have changed. Now we're seeing Barbadians coming forward. Isn't that amazing? And yesterday was grand. Was really, really grand. Really, really grand. And so it is beautiful, really beautiful to see what is happening. Yes, Teroni, it was nice and sweet. And I want to big up Teroni, and I want to big up also Judy and Jilks. Lots of other people, but can I just single out these two individuals, Teroni and his mom? Let me tell you, they the only time I've seen his mom miss a march is when she wasn't well. She doesn't miss a march at all. And I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. And everybody, on behalf of Barbados. Okay, my live video is blurry. Okay, so what is blurry? Tell me, guys, what's going on here? I can feel like there's something wrong in my setup tonight. Tell me, are you seeing me clearly? Are you seeing me clearly? Yeah, something is wrong. I could tell that something is wrong. Okay. No. Okay. All right. So we're going to, I don't know if Dave could play something. And so that yeah, play something, Dave, and then let me go, let me try and sort out here. Something feels wrong. Okay. So let's see if we can get this sorted out tonight. Don't move, guys. Don't move. You know we're not going to give up. You know we don't give up.
Concerned with our government's divesting of local national assets, the property of the people of Barbados, without informing them, without dialogue, discussion, and without their consent. Years have passed, things have changed. Politics in this country, governance must change. If we are a republic, it is by the people, for the people, of the people. As such, government must engage the people of this country, especially when engaging major and significant changes, both to the aspect of our environment, our physical aspect, and the aspects of legal matters pertaining to things like the cybercrime bill and child protection bill. These are significant foundational changes that must involve the people of this country. The divestment of our land, particularly on our coastal areas, is of major concern when we discover that from as early early as 2022, this matter was engaged, and the Barbadian public has only now been informed of the matter. No consultation, no conversation. This must stop. This is not the Barbados of 1966. This is not the Barbados of 1971. This is not the Barbados of 1976. This is not the Barbados of 1981. This is not the Barbados of 1986. This is not the Barbados of 1991. This is not the Barbados of 1994. This is not the Barbados of 2018. This is the Barbados of 2025. We require transparency and accountability. Take the people into your confidence. The reason questions are being asked is because you have not been transparent. That is what we are marching about here today. We love our country. Our heartstring is buried here. We are obligated to protect the well-being of our nation as a sovereign nation and as the civil society of our country. We invite you to join us. Join us if you love our country and send a message to our governments that things must change as you manage the affairs of the people of this nation.
There is no place like home. I am your soul. Who's gonna take control? Speak on your Barbados soul. All they need is gold. To all my friends and family, look your home, sing for your party. They make much of property. And no more for your big money. You won't protect your legacy. Make something for your family. Tell them we are come again. But come and take a job with me. Barbados not for sale. My people not for sale. Enjoy the beach and sun. Oh yeah, Barbados not for sale. This is not for sale. I know you love me here. I know you love me watching. I know you love me Anna. I know you make us come from over. It's ready for the weekend. It's coming noise things. I know you love the people we friendly to all and you're the fun. And then we're praying no go there. And no for me living from paycheck to paycheck. No harm in society. Face of vision, struggle financially. But I'm telling my friends and family, lock your home before your party. They might watch your property. I don't know why you make money, but protect your legacy. Need something for your family. Tell them we are come again. But come and take a job with me. Barbados not for sale. My people not for sale. But enjoy the beach and sun. Barbados not for sale. This is not for sale. I know you love me here. I know you love me watching. I know you love me Anna. I know you make us come from over. It's not the way you say. It's not the noise. I know you love me because we friendly to all and you love me accent. Not for sale. Rich and poor, this is the country. We must be mad respectful unto the dignity. Man's open, very empty, but selling no is not right out in the street. So I'm telling my friends and family, look your house before your party. You may watch your property and go now buy your big money. You won't protect your legacy. Need something for your family. Tell them we are come again. Come and take a job with me. Barbados not for sale.
St. Lucy, St. Peter, St. Andrew, St. Joseph, St. James, St. George, St. Thomas, St. John, Christchurch, St. Philip, St. Michael. This is a Love Barbados March this morning. We are inviting you to join us as we send a message to our government. Governance in our country must change. Governance in our country must change. Transparency requires dialogue and conversation. Accountability requires the releasing of your assets that are not in Parliament. What do you have when you went into Parliament? How do we know what it compares to as you leave? And leaving, you will. Remember, this is about transparency and accountability. And we're marching because we are deeply concerned with the aspect of the divestment of our national assets.
Yes, Barbados, listen, we are standing up. Barbados are standing up. We are standing up. I tell you, you know what I love about us is what I really, really love about us is that we are not giving up. We're not giving an inch. And I can see each time that we come out, I see that we are bolder, we are stronger, we are fighting. You know, and as I'm fighting with my technicals tonight, tell me if you can see me. Can you see me clear? Can you hear me clearly? No, can't. I think it's the internet. Nobody can see me. Oh wow! So I am still blurry. I don't know what to do. I am not sure what the issue is. Everything here seems fine. Okay, all right. So my pic is still blurry. And there's a delay in the speech. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we're going to continue to play some more of the march, Dave. And what I'm going to do is to go out and come back in. Okay. So I'm going to do that and see what happens. All right. So Dave, if you could play a bit more of the march right now. Thank you.
Huh? You thought we were lost. You want me to come back down? Right? Yeah, can't come back down. Okay. Let's go to you. Come back down.
Are the people who are living in the shadow of this entity. Do they have to go like the people of Kensington who are still awaiting their money from the government? Like Miss Brown, where we just started, who is still waiting her money from the government? What is the danger? What is the threat? People in Wellington Street, people in Nelson Street. We have significant transformation that will affect the people of this entire area. Has government engaged you? Have they asked? Have they had a conversation with you? Have they invited you to inform you of the plans and projections that they have for this area? We know the plans for massive hotels along this entire street. And you will not even be able to see the sea as you travel along Main Street. The London Bourse Towers, my understanding, folks, if you live there, if you're in business there, I understand you are possibly going to have to leave. You need to stand up today for your rights as the people of this country. This is all about the divestment of what we're doing. It is in Adams Court. It is Main Street. Charles River. ISIS. Hold down. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. We are standing up for the people and the property of this country. country. The land of this nation belongs to the people, not to any political party or to any government. How dare you divest of our national assets without consultation with the people of this country, without asking us, informing us, conversing with us as it relates to your plans and your intentions. Madam Prime Minister, a word of advice from a clergyman if you hear, because I understand that you have indicated that you need the help of the church. Well, I am here to support the church and represent the church.
Derek.
I am saying to you, if you have
Be good. Got this.
we have elected you to look after those matters. We have elected you and your members in Parliament to look after the well-being of
Oh, you go stand and walk back. Don't if you go this back that way.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Almost. About
concern today in this love march of Barbados, for Barbados. We, the people of this nation, are seeking to this march. Not anti-investment, not anti-government, not hatred. We are concerned.
I say be, I say be.
Can you see me now?
I say I love you, I owe you, I love you. Barbados, you mean everything to me. You're my tropical paradise. Believe me, I don't ever want to be away from your warmth and your deep inside. I say be, I say be,
Okay, good night, everyone. We're having some challenges with the internet. Actually, it's saying there's some internet connection, and it wouldn't even show the comments. Like I'm typing, and it's telling me that there's a trouble connecting. Yeah, there is a glitch. There is definitely a glitch. Yes, something is definitely not. It's not right. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I'm hoping that at least. Oh, so it is still blurry. Oh Lord, I'm trying. I tried to do my best in presenting a proper show. So I am so sorry if this is happening. It is live TV, doing the best that I can, but that's just what happens. Okay, so all right, okay. Okay, all right. I don't know what's going on, but we're here. Well, you saw how the march was. Let's focus on the march, okay? Yes. Okay. So you saw how the march was, and we are so happy that everybody came out. You know, you know what I'm so happy about is just the support. We were able to cover all of our expenses and with your donations. Thank you so much. We want to thank the royal is it no the police services, Barbados Police Services. We want to thank them. Thanks so much. Many thanks to the commissioner, to the inspector there that deals with us. We want to thank also Senior Superintendent Brooms, Adrian Brooms, wonderful gentleman. Thank you so much, and everybody who supported. Somebody says maybe the red. Come on, guys. But thank you to everybody who supported. Thank you, Zico. Hey, Zico. I'm gonna, I might just throw you the link tonight, Zico. Okay, wonderful, everybody. All right, so tonight, guys, before we got slowed down a little bit, and I know my guests would understand, and I have a wonderful guest with me tonight, representing an athletic club. He's Mr. Lennox Ellis. Mr. Lennox Ellis. And Lennox represents an athletic club. And he has some young people who are traveling to Canada, I believe it is. He's going to tell us more on that, but I want you to stay with us. Don't log off now. We're going to get back into the national things, but I tell you something, this is national. All right, stay with me. Like and share, everybody. There are about almost 1,000 of you on here tonight. Everybody go ahead and like and share, right? Like and share. Okay, everybody, like and share. Well, let me welcome Mr. Lennox Ellis. Good night, sir.
Good night. How are you doing?
I am doing great. It's a pleasure meeting you. I can see you bright and clear. I hope you can see me bright and clear.
Yeah, I certainly can.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure having you here with us on the Marcia Week show. I want to thank Lumumba Batson, who connected me to you and told me about the great work that you're doing with our young people in Barbados. Can you tell us about your work, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes. So my organization, a track club, it's called Blaze Track Club. And we cater to athletes from age 7 all the way to age 20. Our aim is to, our aim is very good. We try to start as young as possible, to cultivate the right attitude from an early age. So we focus on developing their athletic talents, so that they can be competitive later on in life and maybe go on a higher stage to represent Barbados in regional, national competitions, and hopefully one day represent Barbados at the Olympics. We have actually had athletes who earn scholarships through a program. We have athletes who have represented Barbados before at the birthday games, and we are slated presently to go to Canada in July as a team to compete at the Flying Angel Track and Field Meet. It is one of the biggest meet in Canada. It hosts a lot of different countries around the world, a lot of famous athletes, and it not only give the athletes a chance to compete on a higher stage, but also expose them to the college experience. Because one of my aim in this particular venture is to show them what it feels like to be a college athlete. So we're going to do a tour of the college. We're going to ask questions of the coach and ask about the life of a scholarship athlete so that they can see it in actual reality, and so that they will one day want to be in the same position. Okay, we are also presently in a position where we are trying to raise funds in order to have our athletes compete at this particular meet. Presently, the total fee that each athlete has to contribute in order to get to this meet and to compete at this meet is $3,380. That includes accommodation, flight, and food. Presently, as a club whose only source of funds is really through our monthly club dues, we are limited in how we can help these athletes to achieve greater potentials. So right now we are trying to seek sponsorship as much as we can. We pretty much have started some ventures that includes bake sale, raffles. We are doing car washes. We are trying our best to raise as much funds as possible because our aim is to get all of the athletes in the club to go. Presently, we have about 25 athletes who are slated to go to Canada. Along with the athletes, we are accompanied or will be accompanied by about 15 adults. Those will be the parents and guardians of the athletes. So it is a big team comprising of about 40 plus individuals. Our aim, as I mentioned previously, is to expose these athletes to a different level of competition, a different atmosphere. I want them to be able to see professionals, how professional athletes act at a track meet, the process that they go through, so that they can see the reality of a professional athletes being displayed right in front of their eyes, and hopefully they can adapt those same habits that those professional athletes will display while they're there. So we are urging anybody that can help us in any way possible. It doesn't matter if it's helping just one athlete, it doesn't matter if you're helping partially. You can also come out to our fundraising activities. Our next fundraising activity is actually scheduled for the 11th of April, which is this Friday coming. We are going to be at Sky Mall. We're going to have a bake sale and we're going to be selling baked goods along with other things. We invite you to come out. We're starting at 10 o'clock in the morning and we're going to go until about 6 o'clock. Our aim, as I said before, is to raise as much funds as possible to offset the costs of the individuals. We're trying to limit out-of-pocket expenses because the athletes that we cater to are mainly from low-income families. They cannot afford such a venture. So that is why it is our initiative to help them as much as we can. So hopefully, by exposing them through this form, we can help generate more funds to offset the cost that is related to going to Canada. Let me give you a little background on myself. I once was in the same position of the athletes that I coach presently. I started out in athletics at a very young age. I started in the primary school, at the primary school level, just a child at play, having fun, not really too serious about the sport. But it was when I got into secondary school and my wonderful secondary school teacher, Mr. Cosmo Corbin, exposed me to the sport of athletics. I took it on a bit more seriously. I myself didn't even recognize how talented I was. He recognized it, and he entered me into school sports at the time, which is now called BSAC. And from that day on, I started doing very well in athletics. I went on to represent Barbados at the Thursday Games. I won a total of 5 medals at the Thursday Games. I went from there on to a scholarship in the US at the University of South Florida. And also represented Barbados at the World Junior Championships and other meets. So I'm not only the coach, I'm also an example. I have lived the life of an athlete on a higher stage, and I would like my athletes to emulate in that same light.
Yes.
So I'm teaching by example.
Yes. Well, as you notice, I dropped out completely, and you, like a professional, just kept going. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you
Oh
so
my
much.
goodness.
Thank you
Can
so
you
much.
hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
Mr.
I definitely can. I
And you
definitely
can
can.
see me?
Yes, I can.
You can. Okay. We just had yeah, yes, something just went wrong there. But we're back. We're back. Yes, so I missed a lot of it, but I can see the questions, and somebody's asking a very important question: the bank account. So, did you talk about the all the children that you're traveling with, and the competition that you are going to in Canada?
Yes, I'll brief you a little on what I said. So yes, there's about 25 athletes that is slated to compete at this meet. It's called the Flying Angel Track Meet. It is one of the, if not the if not one of the best, one of the most popular track meet in Canada on this college stage. It hosts athletes across the world from all different countries and all different levels of competition, anywhere from youngsters from 7 years old and up. The
Yes,
age groups that will be competing would be the under eight all the way up to the seniors. There would be not only competing at the track meet, but will also be exposed to the college life. Because my aim and ultimate aim of this experience also is to show the athlete what it feels like to be a college athlete, to give them a
right.
chance to aspire to get scholarships. We're going to take a tour of the university. We're going to talk to student athletes. We're going to ask questions about how it feels like to take on the role of an athlete, where you're
Yeah.
going to school and training, trying to earn your degree and trying to also improve on your athletic skills. So they're going
Yes.
to get a chance to be
To
exposed
do
on a
all of that. So let
holistic.
me ask you
Yes.
something. So do you have because I know, I think I sent Dave a picture of a lovely young lady who's
Yes.
going to be traveling as well, and that we're while we're trying to raise money for everybody, as I know Lumumba had asked me about this particular young lady. So if Dave could put her picture up. Her name is Afia Wilson. And how old is Afia Wilson?
She's 8 years old. She's one of our youngest.
Oh wow! And where
And
does she go to school?
she goes to Wesley Hall Primary.
Wesley. Oh my
And
Lord,
she
Wesley Hall. Anybody who used to go to Wesley Hall? Anybody who used to go to Wesley Hall? If you are a past student of Wesley Hall, we're gonna put on the screen right now Afia Wilson, and she is going to Canada to run. What's she running? What race? 100,
she
200,
she she runs, yeah, she runs the shorter stuff. In her age group, they do 50 meter, 80
50,
meter, 100 and 150.
and
She
150.
yeah, she's an athlete that really loves track and field. She seemed to dream track and field. She's always excited to train. Um, she 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 worries when she have to miss train or have to miss a track meet. She is one of those athletes who quite at a young age has adapted that attitude that we would like the older athletes that our all athletes should adapt when they get to that stage. She already have that attitude of an older athlete that is aspiring
So she's
to
very,
build
you're
a
saying
house.
she's very disciplined. And
She's
how
very
much money,
disciplined. Yes.
how much, listen, we see this pretty face on here. I know some of you can write one
Mhm.
check and send this child to go to fulfill her dreams. Let me tell you something. We're going to talk about two young men a little later in the program this evening. And one, we saw him dead in the road there in Whole Town, right? We saw him at 20 years old, and I'm going to show you pictures of him when he was a little boy. young boy. And I'm going to talk about the young man, Shelton Blackman, who is accused and it's alleged that he stabbed another guy at BCC. And we see what's happening with our young people. But let me tell you, from a little child, a lot, you know what? They grow up and they have dreams and they have aspirations. And this young lady deserves that opportunity. How much is it that we're looking for? Because I know there is somebody on here who could write an entire check, or two persons can write write two checks and solve this problem one in one. Okay, Afia Wilson, we are sending the loyal opposition pressure group. We are sending Afia Wilson to Canada. Who agree with me? She's so pretty, no? Who agree with me that Afia Wilson is going to run her 50-meter, or 100-meter, or 150-meter, and she is from Wesley Hall, right?
Yes.
Wesley Hall Primary. Listen, let us let this child foot touch the plane and touch the track and run for Barbados. Is she going to run in our Bajan colors? Is she going to run in the Barbados colors?
She's running in the club colors, so we are competing under the club. So
under the club, but you're from Barbados. Don't mind, you're from Barbados. So listen, Michael Jukes, you went to Wesley Hall. Write the check. How much is it? Tell me quick.
Okay, so each athlete, the total for the trip, including accommodation, flights, and food, is $3,360.
3,000. Hold a minute. $3,360. $3,360. $3,360. That's what we're raising. Yes. Thank you, Dave. That's what we're raising here tonight. And all you know the number 236-7000. One person can write this check. I'm telling you. Okay, 3,360. And if you can't write the check, just message me. You might want to give a 20, a 10. Don't worry about the march. We covered the march already. All right. We covered the march. So hello, can you hear me? I'm back. Yeah, $3,360. Somebody message my phone, please. Or somebody message my phone and let me give you the information. So do not send the money to our account. Do not send it to the normal account that you would send it to, or PayPal. Don't do that. Let me give you this gentleman's information. So all you're doing is messaging me for the information for Mr. Lennox Ellis. Okay. Anybody want to say me? Oh, yes, I can. Neonster. You can hear me, or is it that you're going to sponsor? What are these yeses, sir? Andrea Marshall, yes, you're going to sponsor the child? Neonster? Who gonna do it? Where's the person who said that they went to Wesley Hall? Michael Jilts? I'm putting you on the spot, Michael. So folks, okay, yes. Okay, so folks, message me, please, okay? Neon, stop making it clear. Neon saying, I am saying, yes, I can hear you. Not yes, not yes, I will send the child. Well, let me tell you, I know that she's going to get the money, okay? I know she's going to get the money, and we're going to donate, and I know others will join us. Will join our family. Our family will donate as well, and I know others are going to join us as we donate to ensure that this little one gets to go as well. And please send back some pictures. When she gets to go, when she's running, and tell us when they're leaving, right? Okay.
Definitely. I'll definitely update you on what's going on and our trip as a whole.
Yes, yes. Oh, wow. Somebody said they will do 360. Whoa, go Thunder.
Amazing,
Go Thunder.
amazing,
Go
amazing. Thank you so
Thunder.
much.
Go
Thank you
Thunder.
so much.
That's
What a
about
wonderful
10%.
name, Thunder, Thunder. That's a wonderful name. Thank
Yes,
you
okay.
tremendously. Thank you tremendously for this opportunity to be on your show. And thanks tremendously in advance for all those who's going to be donating. It's going to go to a worthy cause, and hopefully, y'all will be able to see this name in the future in a greater light.
Yes, I don't know. She makes me excited. Somebody
Yeah.
somebody is telling me that they want to donate. This is somebody from overseas, actually from Canada, and they want to know where in Canada they're going to be, because sometimes even when I travel with children and we go to a particular country, Barbadians come and they support. So when you message me, you can, or if you want to tell us exactly where, so that I can tell them and they can come and they will make sure that they eat and their belly full and take them to see nice places. Bajans are very, very kind people. And every time I
Lovely.
travel with children, they make sure the children have a fantastic time. So everybody who's watching this, whether you're watching it live or it's going to be recorded, you need to know where these children are staying in Canada. They are Bajans, and once they hit foot in Canada, listen, you're going to let them feel like they're home, and you're going to take care of them and their coaches. All right. So oh, somebody just gave $100. So that's so Thunder, message me, Thunder.
Yeah.
Thunder,
We,
message me.
I definitely look forward to Bajans coming to watch in Canada. Your support is going to be very welcome.
Yes, yes. 100 is here in my thing, and then 360 from Thunder. So that was 460. All right. And all I'm going to do, as I said, do not send it to my account. Do not send it to our PayPal is too much. You don't know. Let's go straight and give it to the persons involved. Right? Okay, I'm just reading my phone. Pardon me. Let me just check to see how it's coming in. Well, we didn't plan to spend this long time. It was only supposed to be 15 minutes, but I think it all works together for good. Yeah, so
Definitely,
Enoch
definitely.
is saying that they will donate. Enoch, this little girl is going to Canada to run. She does athletics, and she needs our total is 3,360. We've just raised $460 of it, and I know before the night is done that we will raise every cent for her. There's a
Thank
track
you so much.
meet, in Canada, and every one of these children deserve to go. They deserve to go. Okay. All right. So they're going July 2nd to July 9th, and they would need to buy the tickets now. Okay. They need to buy those tickets now. I know what this is all about. Let me just tell you, Mr. Ellis, thank you for what you're doing. Are you Barbadian, I might ask?
No, I'm presently I'm originally from St. Vincent. I grew up in Barbados, and I also spent a lot of time in the US. So my accent might be a bit mixed up
Yes.
of all the combinations. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I'm
Enoch
from
says he will send $200. Enoch, message me. Do you have my number? 236-7000. The whole of Barbados have that number. 236-7000. Okay. 236-7000. So that's 660 for this little pretty little girl
Thank you
that's
so much.
going on the track meet to make this a great opportunity. Yes, Enoch. So message me and let me give you the number for this gentleman so that you can. Oh, we spoke already. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. No problem. No problem. No problem. So that was $660. So it's at York University, July 2nd to the 9th. And we're going to we go adopt this little girl here. So the loyal opposition is sending her. Okay. I love the sound of
Yes,
that.
yes,
The
yes,
loyal
yes.
opposition pressure group is sending little Afia Wilson to Canada. All right. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Anybody else want to donate just before he goes? He's leaving now. Anybody wants to donate? Anybody else? Nobody else? Nobody else? Come on, don't miss your blessing. Don't miss your blessing. All right. I know what some of you are going to do. I know how you operate. You're going to message me directly instead of putting it on the on here. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to say, Mr. Ellis?
Thank you all so much for having me. It has been a pleasure, and I appreciate everything that you have done and will do. And
Yes.
we will talk more in the future as you see these youngsters aspire to greatness.
Another $100. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I tell you, the loyal opposition will send this child 760 and she's gonna win gold medal. I tell
Thank you
you,
so much.
I'm a big athletic fan, and I love young people, and I love to see when they can live their dreams. I think this we whatever we have, we shower it on the youth. You hear what I tell you? It's better they're running track, and they, and they say, oh, every time you have to pay money to do this. Better you pay money for them to run track than you have to get a casket or they bail them out of jail. Mr. Ellis. Oh, somebody here said that they lost out on running track because because of my father. So I'm very passionate about track and field. Well, I'm happy, Enoch, that you can. Yes, I know people will do it. I listen to me. This is what we live for. We live for to take care of each other, make sure our young people listen. And we are sending this little girl. We're sending Afia Wilson to Canada. Loyal opposition. We are doing it for her. Yes. I have goosebumps all over my body because, listen, we see what is happening, Mr. Ellis, and I just wanted to say to you, sir, don't give up. Don't stop, okay?
No, I don't plan to. Don't plan to at all. Thank you so much.
And I want Bajan to hear where he's from. He's from St. Vincent, but you can't tell this man he's not Bajan.
Yes,
right? They can't tell you you're not Bajan, right?
I'm from St. Vincent, but I competed for Barbados. So
you even competed, like myself.
Yeah.
When I travel with my films, I do it for Barbados. Here, Lennox is saying he's born in St. Vincent, but spend most of his time here in Barbados, and he competes for Barbados.
Yeah, and I do hold 2 Barbados track and field records. So,
yes. Does she have track shoes?
Yes, she has track shoes. Yes.
Okay. But I want you to write me her size. You're gonna have to bring that little girl on here, and her mother and the father.
You're gonna love her. You're gonna love her because she's nothing but excitement.
Yes. Oh, this is what we do, Barbados. Barbadians are loving people. That's my experience, and they are going to take care of her and take care of this track club. I want you to send me when they're training. I want to see videos. I want you to invite me down. Before they go, I come in with my camera and I go film them.
Lovely.
Tell them, don't miss. Don't miss. Tell them, don't miss the trap meet. I will come and talk to them and prep them up before they go and let them win all the medals. You understand? When they come back, who wants to see their hand full of medals coming through the airport?
Yes. We will come back. We'll come back and show you all that we have brought back with us. We're definitely going to be coming back with medals because our team has very good potentials. Yeah.
Listen, did you travel before?
Yes. I have traveled a lot, especially to compete. I've been as far as South Korea competing for Barbados. Travels so many different countries to compete in track and field.
Yes. But listen, what I'm saying is this, that, when they're coming back into the country and if they're successful, because, if they didn't win any medals, they're not going to want to see us at the airport. But if they're successful, we're going to come and make pure nice at the airport. Okay?
Good. Thank you so much.
Tell her we already see her. Tell her she's our Shelley and Fraser Price.
Yes, she's gonna love to hear that.
Tell her I said she is our Shelley and Fraser Prize, and we are going to big her up. We are going to big her up and send her all the way. Wait, this is Lennox Ellis. Lennox Ellis, you win up all of this. What? Look at the screen, people. 1992 Carifta Games. Is that a gold?
Yes, I won 3 golds and 2 bronze.
Oh my word. For Barbados? Lord, yes. Listen, let me flag. Let me tell you, man. Listen, Miss McLean, we're reaching airport. We're reaching airport for this team. Listen, the loyal opposition of a track team.
All right. Nice.
You're right. So now we belong to you.
You belong to us.
We belong to you. Yes. Thank you.
Listen,
thank you so much.
Tell them we're not supporting no team that don't come to track to practice. Because we're not. Listen, if they keep coming last all the time, I don't practice with this one them. Right?
Yes, I agree. But my team,
I coming down there. You let me know when they're down there. I'm coming to talk to them.
I will send you our training location, and we welcome you. We welcome you and your crew to come and watch us in action. Yes,
and I want to say that when they come, they're properly dressed in their gear, everything organized. Because that's how you win. You know, you win from the practice. You win at the practice.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
I come in to wild them up before they leave.
Thank you so much. Look forward to that.
Oh well, Lennox, this has been special. Sorry for the technical difficulty. And everything. You got the whole first part of the show. That's how it was supposed to be. And I thank God for my wonderful friend Lumumba Batson that put me in contact with them. Miss McLean, you don't want to jump in this and give something to this child?
Yeah, but I will. So I will. I certainly will. And of course, you know me, I saw her face, and thanks, Judy. I saw her face and I said, this is a child that's determined. But I was in search of the meaning of Afia. And if the spelling is slightly different from how you had it. But
before you do that, Miss McLean, Dave, can you put up her picture again, please? Before we go. Continue.
Yes. I would say in Arabic it means health, well-being, freedom from illness. So you see, no wonder she's very much into athletics and so on. But this she looks like a child who knows what she wants. And she's what, 10, 9? How old again? How old is she? 8.
She's
wow.
8.
And if she has that kind of determination at this age and interest, she needs to be supported from now. And Marcia, in fact, this is so interesting that you're doing this, because this is how a community takes care of its own.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Oh, yes. Say that again, Miss McLean. That's it, Miss McLean.
I'm saying this. You have just been demonstrating how a community can and should take care of its own. And this is important, that we nurture our children, 8 years old, and having a desire to be an athlete. It talks about discipline. And if she is starting at this stage and with the necessary support, we will hear her name. Well, we saw some gold medals and so on, and so we will see some more.
Shelly Fraser Price.
Thank you so much. She's gonna appreciate everything that you all have said.
Yeah.
And I know she looks forward to meeting with you.
Yes.
She's also people's person, so you're gonna like her because she loves.
I know that, and I know that the entire team will do well. And I tell you, let me know if there's any little boy there that might need help. Okay, you let me know if there's a little boy that needs help. All right.
That's a good idea, Marcia. Thank you for raising it. I have a thing for little boys. I have a son, so.
Oh Lord, you know.
Our youngest is actually 6 years old, and He already has this leadership
What's the
mentality.
name of that
So
child?
much so that
I didn't hear you, sir. What's the name of the little boy?
his name is Mackay Jones.
Mackay
Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he was actually just given an award as one of the top beavers in Barbados. He was given the highest accolade as a beaver, the highest possible accolade just a couple of weeks ago.
What's a beaver? What's a beaver?
A beaver is just a stage before becoming a Cub Scout. So you have the beavers, the Cub Scouts, and the Scouts, and so on. So he can
run. He can run.
Yes, he runs. He's in the track club, and he has this leadership mentality that so much so that he wants to not only run but wants to become a coach someday. And I actually let him facilitate in that light every once in a while where he leads the group. At 7 years old, I would love for you to see him leading the group as a coach. Yes. He's that aspect.
Nice little video of the team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, guess what? I'm going to talk to you, and I'm coming to watch them, and I will document them as they're preparing and as they're going, and let them give their stories, etc. And we're always going to see them coming through the airport with lots of medals in their hands, waving that Barbados flag. That's all that matters to us. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ellis, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. God bless you. Bye bye.
You all have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Wow.
Miss McLean. Oh my goodness. The intention was welcome, Miss McLean.
Hi. Good evening. I was following from the beginning.
You saw how much trouble I was having.
I saw you, Bird. I actually sent you a message saying when you asked the second time that I was seeing you okay. Because it was blurred initially. So the gremlins were at work, don't worry.
I am telling you, and I know exactly what oh wow, people are still messaging me. I'm having goosebumps on. I think this show I'm going to cry on this show.
No.
Because of what we're going to talk about now.
Oh gosh.
As well.
Yes.
Guys,
it's so interesting. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, congratulations. So this is the thing here, Lemuel Tull. This is what I don't like. And I'm saying I hope those that are aspiring for for leadership, regardless of the party, and you're into sports and youth. This is such a critical time for this kind of thing, Miss McLean.
Yes.
We are ripe for this. Are you want to lead this country in the area of sports and youth and culture? This is such an important time. And look at what happened. Shade and Jonathan just took part in a meet in Florida, and we did not hear about it here. And Dave will tell you, this is something that I say all the time. In Jamaica, Miss McLean, wherever they're running, everybody knows. You understand?
Yes.
Jamaica had somebody in gymnastics. You know, we're not coming nothing in that, right? But I was in the supermarket I was visiting, and I saw everybody stop and was watching the TV. And they had a huge TV in the supermarket, Miss McLean, because here was this girl that was sponsored by Bounty Killer, one of the reggae artists. Mm-hmm. And guess what? The child didn't do well.
But she
you know what?
Participated.
You know what they said? That the judge thief her. The supermarket went up in an uproar. How did them a fight against Jamaica? The child did not do the thing properly. We don't know to do no gymnastics, right? But still, he believed in her. And Bounty Killer took up his money and paid for her and sent her there, even though she didn't place.
Right. But you see, it is about supporting and believing. But remember, you had a bobsled team, remember?
Yeah.
The reggae body, what was it? But no, it really is important that we support. And I take my hat off to, is it Mr. Jackson? I'm trying to remember his name. Judith. Yeah. Yes, I take my hat off to him and those who make the effort to work with our young people. But what I and I'm not saying it's not happened before, but this is the first time certainly that I am aware of working with that age group in this way. I know we've seen youngsters working with footballers and so on, but here you have an 8-year-old, and the look on her face tells me that she is very serious, very focused, and with the right support. And you see the thing about the exposure, because I remember when I was a graduate student in Ohio, there were a couple Caribbean persons, West Indians. There was a Barbadian, Mike Gaskin. Sadly, Mike has left us. But Mike was on a track scholarship and doing an undergraduate degree when I was doing my master's.
Yes, excuse me. I'm people are donating, but I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically what I saw was the amount of discipline required in terms of training. I remember him telling me he was on a track scholarship. It was a young man so many years ago, and I don't remember his name, but he was St. Lucian. He was playing football or soccer, as they call it in North America. Mike said, they got up on, because Ohio winters were not the easiest. And he said that he would put Vaseline or Vicks in his nose, because when you're training, the weather, would have caused nosebleeds and all kinds of things. But in addition to the athletics and another sports scholarships, is the academic opportunity that these scholarships also offer to these young people. So even if they don't make an Olympic team, and even if they did, they still are able to have that academic, that education and so on. And so I'm really happy, and I'm glad that people are supporting. So well, and I'm happy that you also raised the young man as well. So you have a young male and a young female.
Yes. Well, I want to take my, as mothers, Miss McLean is a mom, and a lot of you are mothers out there. And I want to, Miss McLean has a son. I have 3 sons, 1, 2, 3. And I want us, Miss McLean, to take take our audience on a little journey.
Okay.
As we look at our young men, and let's start with the young man from Harrison College. Mm-hmm. And if Dave would check his WhatsApp, folks, don't leave. I know this is not the juicy thing that happened with the government and all of that, but if we have about 1,067 people on. Stay with me tonight, guys. Don't come off. Just stay, please. Okay, and I need you to share. Everybody share. Something major is going to happen here tonight. I want you to stay with me. Stay with me, folks, tonight. There's a reason we were having technical issues, because this is a powerful show here tonight. Now, how many of you saw the young man in the white shirt in a pool of blood on the streets in Old Town, right there, a few yards from
Lime
Grove, and almost in front of Old Town Civic Center? How many of you saw it? I'm going to wait on them, Miss McLean, because we got to do this. How many of you saw it? Give me a thumbs up if you saw it. There was also a video. There's a picture and there was a video. In the broad daylight, in a white shirt, blood. Andrea saw it. Sonda saw it. Judith Ann, Judy Jills. Yes. Yes, Shirley, you did. He was 20 years old. He was 20 years old. I got connected to this story only yesterday when on the march. Well, truly, let me be honest, I saw something, somebody sent me something through Sheriff Veronica. And when I looked at it, I took a second glance at it because I saw the tie. And I said, what? Doesn't this look like Harrison College tie? But I wasn't too sure. And I'm like, what's wrong with Harrison College? So then I opened it because, some of her things are good. And then, some is, you don't, whatever. But I said, she didn't say the name of the school, but I said, but then we had the march, Miss McLean. So then I didn't pay more attention to it until Mr. Thorne was speaking at the march, and he said Harrison College. And I listened, I said, you're going to tell me the boy who was on the ground that he was a student at Harrison College, or, just graduated? I'm like, huh? Really? And so I listened and I heard what Mr. Thorne was saying. I want to take a good look at this young man. And then I'm going to read you a post that was put on Facebook. One by Mr. Thorne and one by somebody else. And I tell you, Miss McLean, from one mother to the next, I cried this evening. I'm sorry. You might say I love to cry, but when it comes on to young people and boys, I had two sons who went to Harrison College. And I know it's not easy there. It's not easy. It's a great school, but it's not necessarily an easy school. Yes, I know he had a cutlass. And this is why I want everybody to focus in tonight, because I want us to, as Barbadians, to think a little deeper. Go a little deeper. Please. We love to blame. We're loving people, but we love to point a finger right away. So I want you to, tonight, I want you to just look at his picture. Look at him. He could be your son. Okay? Miss McLean, while I get the other things up on the screen, can you just share what when you look at this little boy, what comes to mind, and what do you know about him, ma'am?
Well, Marcia, I would have learned a bit about him yesterday, as you said. What I can tell you is that based on what I learned, based on the fact that I went to the girls' equivalent to Harrison College. In fact, today I was celebrating with my youngest brother, who went to Harrison College, but he would have gone to Harrison College 40-something years ago. In fact, more than 50 years ago, he would have started school there, because my brother was celebrating a birthday coming up this weekend. But what it said to me is that here we have the question. Let me put it this way before I get into what I know about him. What I can tell you that I heard he was from the city. What that suggested that he was not from a well-to-do family. He probably grew up in poverty. And clearly he was bright enough to have made the marks to go to Harrison College. We know how the common entrance works in terms of school allocation. But I can also say that we also know that growing up poor and going to some of our secondary schools is more difficult than it is in others.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some of the video. I could not watch all of it because I have an aversion to violence and so on. And I saw the young man with the cutlass, etc. But one of the things that I remember from yesterday when Mr. Thorne spoke, he started out by saying, do not judge. Because when I see these things, as in the same situation of a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old both on remand for murder, I ask myself, why? What happened in the lives of these young men, of these boys, of these minors in the case of the two? What happened? All I see here is a young man going to school, hoping to probably better his situation. But I can tell you, if you do not have the kind of support system to help you to navigate a school where privilege is often exhibited. When I say privilege, children who are from privileged circumstances. If you do not have somebody to help you to understand how to navigate that, if you find yourself, and I do not know what happened to him in school, but I am saying to you, if I take myself back to the period that I went to Queen's College, I went to Queen's College in 1966, and I left there in 1974. And I was not of a privileged background. And I saw how some teachers, and I make no apologies for saying this, I saw how some teachers dealt with certain children. In my years as an adult, I have a very close friend who basically, if you talk to her about her experience at that school, she would tell you she probably had a good academic education, but her experience there was not good. You know, so my first question is, what happened in the life of this young man to put him in a situation like this?
Let me just give you give some background before we're gonna get into that aspect, Miss McLean. But let me just give a little background here. Someone who's closer to the situation told me today that that this young man, you see, he's in the khaki. He's the guy in the khaki, okay? And he's here on the stage, and he won a speech award.
Mm-hmm.
He's no, this is Harrison College. He's right here. He's the young man in the khaki standing there, okay? And he won an award at Harrison College. So that's him getting his award for speech. Think about it, for speech. Now, this little boy and his brother, they are from St. Philip originally. Their father died. Listen. This is what I'm saying. Their father died, and they moved from St. Philip, and they went into the heart of the city. They went to Mason Hall. Mason Hall is, you know where that is, Miss McLean?
Yes.
They went to Mason Hall. When he at Mason Hall, and while he was at Harrison College, he was known as Snack Man.
Mm-hmm.
He was known as Snack Man because he sold snacks. He sold snacks, and he was selling snacks to, of course, to make a living, to help himself and his family and so on. And he saw an opportunity to sell snacks at school, and he was selling. So he was known as Snack Man. Okay. And I want to read just a little something that was sent to me this evening. And as I said, just here, just here. Just give me a moment. Let me just bring this up, guys. As you know, we had a little challenge today, so I'm trying to, yes. Someone by the name of Harley Mosley III.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Harley Mosley III says, he wrote on his Facebook, "We extend our condolences to Amani's loved ones and friends. It says here, it takes a village to make a man, and it takes a village to ruin him. I like to keep things short as possible. This unfortunate last stabbing death serves to remind us in Barbados that there are two Barbadoses. 3 if we include colorism, and 4 if arguably 1 includes race. So there are 2 Barbadoses he starts with, but he said there are 3 if you include colorism. 2 for class, 3 colorism. Within that class, you have the colorism, right? And then there is the other one, race, 4. One cannot help but wonder if the young man in question here had any of the advantages that any of the single categories mentioned offered, if he would not still be alive and thriving today. Barbados, we are continuing to fail our young men. Barbados, we are continuing to fail our young men. Amani, he says, I will remember your banter with my children in the back seat of my car on the way to school. So this man used to take him to school, Harley Mosley III. The lessons that you taught all of us on how to think about business or hustling. My son, your former classmates, Wesley, is grateful for many a time how you protected him from more trouble, both in and out of school. While the rest of Barbados may remember you angrily brandishing a cutlass, I'm not sure how many will remember that at some point and time, they too may have lost control of their temper. This is one old Harrisonian who will remember you as having a future and a promise. Whether it is said by an old Harrisonian society or a single lone voice, in Dio Fides,
yeah.
May you rest in peace. Now, Mr. Thorne wrote this. He says, just a few days, we were in Holtown protesting the loss of property. A few days later, on the eve of another protest over the loss of property in Bridgetown, we lost a young life in that same spot where I walked in protest in Holtown. The property of real estate loss can be retrieved, but the property of precious life loss cannot be retrieved. We make no judgments. Barbados, we make no judgments. May God retrieve. This is so sad. May God retrieve and bless 20-year-old Amani, Kanye, Lorde into eternity. Our young men. I know mothers are crying today over their child. Can you imagine this mother? Their father died. Who would have been that stability in his life, Miss McLean?
Yes. Marcia, I will take it from here to give you a minute, right? And I want to comment on what Harley Mosley said, Harley Mosley III, and I would know the first and the second, know of the first and the second, and so on. And basically, the experience that he shared with this young man. Let me first respond to a question about why is he in his cakey school uniform, and you could ask the other, how come a young lady there is the young girl is in her tunic and he's in his. There are a couple of things. One, the others may be from different classes, or it may very well be the reason why we have uniforms. These other youngsters are in jeans, sneakers, and so on. Now, the shirt may be part of the athletics thing, but he may have been in his uniform because he's in a different class from them, or it may simply be he could not afford to come to school in a pair of jeans, which he did not have. You understand? So these are the things, and I want to say that I agree with Harley Mosley, the third, sorry, not Harley Mosley Jr., Harley Mosley III, that it takes, and I wrote it down when you said it takes a village to make a man, it takes a village to ruin him. And I will posit tonight that the school is also a village. Let me put that there. And therefore, you had persons like him who would have taken the time to pick up the young man and drop him to school because his children were probably his contemporaries, and he shared the experiences of that. But equally, in those schools, I say those schools, I don't mean Harrison, in schools, let me say, and that's one of the things that I also talk about, the beauty of having a uniform, where it's not easy to differentiate. Of course, if you're limited in resources, you may be not having new uniforms, etc. But I don't want to digress too much. But the point I'm making is, and I saw it, and I dealt with it, and I continue to deal with it in a different environment with students at the university level. That's where I taught. But I think that people need to be sensitive. I understand that you mentioned I was known as Snap Man. And there was, from what I understood, talking to somebody who would have known him at school, that he was forbidden from, from selling snacks, and he persisted. Now, I say to people, and that's why I asked the question, what was it? What were the circumstances? What were the forces that helped to shape what I may describe as the negative aspects that probably made him an angry young man? I don't know the history of the interaction between him and the other individual, but my concern is we talk about having guidance counselors, and one of the basic things we talk about things like critical thinking and so on. And I ask myself, and I feel emotional about this because I have seen it. I can give you examples talking to my late brother-in-law who went to Harrison College, and I will share an example of that, to the kind of thing that persists in these places, in our schools and in our workplaces and so on. Now, if I see a young man come into school, and you're not supposed to sell on the premises or whatever, as his former mistress or former master, I believe that individual should have asked, as their guidance counselors in these things, you have a principal. Amani, why are you continuing to do this?
Yeah.
And you also can use your common sense, because at the end of the day, yes, an address in part can tell you the economic, not the individual person's character, but the economic circumstances that child may be experiencing,
Correct.
And so basically my point is, you have a child come into school and there are issues. First of all, you need to establish, because if I were that person, I would have worked it out in my mind that he's not doing it just because he wants to be entrepreneurial alone, that he probably is doing this out of necessity. Go and look at his record, and you would realize that, as the information said, he'd lost his father. Do you have any idea what kind of jobs his mother is doing? What can we as a school, and I hate the name that they have, the Harrisonian Society, it sounds so elitist. But
Ms. McLean, can I just say this here? Because honestly, I don't want this to be a bashing of the school.
I'm not bashing the school, I'm not bashing.
No. Let me say, because my sons went there, and while yes, like any other school, there are pressures in different ways. They had a very good experience at the school. Okay,
and that is the
norm. I just want to bring that balance, in terms of how
I would not balance it, Marcy. I think that I need to say this, having gone, and I had a good experience. The point I'm making is that there are too many instances where children are perhaps not assisted. I'm just responding to what Mr. Mosley said in terms of a village. A village is not only where you live. A village is where you spend a lot of your time. And I'm simply saying, and this has happened there. It has happened in other schools. So I'm not bashing. I hate the word bashing also. I don't bash things. I analyze. And I am very serious. And if you would allow me, I would do this, because I feel strongly about it, but I try as much as possible to be objective and careful in how I discuss this. And we can't get away from it. There's a lot of elitism that goes on in these schools up to today. I went to Queen's College. My sister went to St. Michael's, Queen's College, and Harrison College, because in sixth form, when she came to Queen's College, she went to Harrison College to do physics, chemistry, and maths. My brother went there. My son went to Queen's College. I'm just saying that I'm not talking about those schools only, but the point I am making, that if you go across our school system, oftentimes children who are deemed problematic. I will take you, forget Harrison College, let me take you to St. Stephen's Nursery School, where my son went to school and where my grandparents went and all of us. When my son was in nursery school, his teacher called me. He had a teacher who was very concerned about looking out for her children. And she called me about a student who was a problem child. Now, this is nursery. This is 3 plus 4 till you leave to go over to primary. And there was a child who was a particular problem. She didn't just put him in the class and ignored him. What she did was to investigate. And when she found out the circumstances of the child's parents, she said to a group of parents, we have to assist this child. That's the point I'm making. That at the end of the day, one of the things we have to ask ourselves, what are the forces that play out in the lives of our children? And I, as you know, you've said it, and we've had these conversations privately. I am very, very concerned about our boys.
Yeah.
I am very concerned about our boys. And, you know, we talk about, people talk about women's rights and so on. All of those things are important. But I tell people there's a triple burden that a lot of women in Barbados are carrying. Like his mother, because he lost his dad, she ended up being having to parent her as a single parent.
Yes.
And so a lot of single parents are required to work, to take care of their children. I don't know about his situation, but a lot of them also have to look after the elderly. So I am just simply saying, Marcia, and I will stop there, that in our school system, in our workplaces, because I can share an example later of a situation that I had to deal with as a chairman of a company. In our workplaces, sometimes we see what we determine to be deviance, but we do not deal with the root causes. We deal with the symptoms, and that is part of where the problem manifests itself and sometimes gets out of hand.
Yes.
Where if we understood the nature of the problem.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, I see Mr. Murray right here, and I know Mr. Murray. Oh boy, you've been sitting there, and I told you 8:30 you're there, and let me tell you, it seems like we're going to have to change course tonight, and I hope that you will have mercy on me. Tonight, I know you're prepared up, and I have to beg you another evening to because I know you came on to talk about CBC, and it's just happening because I had some challenges at the beginning of the program and thought I could catch up on it. But I think if you would bear with us tonight, because I have one more young man to talk about. But welcome, sir.
No problem. I'm learning from the show, and I'm part of the show, so I'm going with the flow of the show. But it's good to be here. Very interesting show tonight, coming at a very critical time in our national affairs and the psyche of the country.
Yes, and I know you would have a whole lot to say on this topic here. And I was supposed to bring in Abraham Millington as well. We're going to have to change course tonight, Abraham. I didn't forget you. Was having some challenges. Okay, so please bear with me tonight. But I have, so this young man here, Mr. Murray. Do you have any a quick comment on him and the situation? I know you probably would have seen the video, etc.
Yeah, I've seen the video and I've heard the comments, but I think most people have said a lot of things that I would have probably said and thought. So there's no extremely different perspective I'd like to bring to, except to say that the question that both of you and Maxine agree on about the reign and the resulting of our males, in the same way that when I hear about educational transformation, I laugh, or educational transformation it's called, the latest version. I laugh at because you're jumping on all these big fancy titles and then dealing with the basic. How can you talk about educational transformation unless you talk about literacy and numeracy? They can't code or whatever that you are encouraged if they can't read or write. And so we all have to go, let's go to the basic. In the society, there has to be, in this actual, saying that the extended family is no longer existing in the way we knew it and we'd grown up. There has to be formally provide a way of inculcating and exposing parents, both male and parents, to the rudiments of proper parenting on all the facets, on what to look for, different stages of development, what you're supposed to do. It will not happen spontaneously. It is like we used to want to believe that all our cricketers were natural, and they just played cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So birds were those. But the world has changed, and the world that we are is at a protected type at that time, you cannot expect it at the time. That's why you have academy and coaches and batting coaches, because a different era, different perspectives. And we have to do the same thing about our children. Consciously apply that everything has to be a study. There's a science about almost everything we do in life. Human behavior is all buttressed by various aspects and types of sense. We have to apply these things. Otherwise, we just papering over the cracks. We have to go always to the fundamental, always to the basic. And once you get the basics right, you improve your chances tremendously of getting the final outcome right also.
Yes, yes. It's good to hear your perspective as well. And I know that you told me a story, which I hope you will repeat before the show is up, of some young men that you saw on the streets, because we're going to talk about that side as well, right?
Okay.
But don't tell me just yet. But remember, I'm going to remind you of it, because I think it's worth us mentioning it. But folks, I want to take you to another young man. Another one, Mr. Murray. There's another one. And Dave, look in your WhatsApp. It's there in your WhatsApp. Now, this one, I have to try to hold it together, Mr. Murray and Miss McLean, for this one. Because all these weeks, I could not speak about it. I couldn't come on the show. I hear people making comments, and I couldn't say anything. And I would love for Dave, put up the one with him in the orange shirt first, please. Thank you. In the meantime, folks, can you share? Meantime, guys, share, please. Right. Now, this gentleman here, this young man here, let me move this off of here. This happened. I couldn't even come on the show to say anything. Folks, I have been grieving this young man. You ask, is he my child? No. Is he my nephew? No. Is he my cousin? No. Mr. Murray, the young man that you see here who is accused in the BCC stabbing, his name is Shelton Blackman, and he was a student of mine. So because it's a case, I'm going to be careful of all that I say. But this young man, okay, when I met him, at that time, he didn't have his CXCs as yet. And he told me he would like to have his CXCs. And so we all help as a village. Okay, that's how I'll put it. And he's a very, very brilliant boy, brilliant young man. He came to me, Mr. Murray, in November. And the term had started, obviously, from September. And he came in November. We had started the term already. And he told me, he said, Mrs. Weeks, I would like to do 4 subjects. And I thought to myself, 4 subjects? How are you going to do 4 subjects? And he said, I want to do them. He said, I want to do them at the end of at the next school term. I said, Shelton, how are you going to do? That's too much. You can't do, just take English, or just take math. Miss McLean, he said, no, I want to do all 4. He wanted to do all 4. So I got together and I said, all right, I got some students from UWI to help me because I can't teach math. But I taught the POB. I taught him POB. He said he wanted to do POB. He wanted to do accounting. He wanted to do English. And we got somebody to teach him math. And I hope I can say this. I'm being careful all that I say. Things got so bad that we had to move him into our school, in a room in the school. So I tell people, stop judging. Is he wrong to have stabbed the guy if it is that he did it? Because it's a case. They said he's accused. If he did it, is he wrong? Yes. I'm not. This is because I know that the other boy, he's now very sick. He's very I heard he can't even walk properly. I think he's still in bed. He's still hurt, guys. The other young man is hurt. Badly.
Marcia, I just like to caution from my experience that one does not know where this case will go. And one does not want to be accused of the show playing any part in coloring the outcome of this case in any direction.
Yes,
and therefore I think you said enough.
Yeah, but I spoke with his lawyer, just to tell you, before I came on. So because of that, Miss, I am not saying everything. I'll say this last thing to say, that this young man, because it's important that also that people see this picture and they think that this is all to this guy. They say he looks so angry. This is not the person that I know. I'm just saying, that's all I want to say. I want to say that in 6 or 7 months that he was able to complete his studies and pass his CXCs with 1s and 2s, and came to me even before he did the exam. I would like to sign up for BCC. I told him, I don't know if you can. He said, Mom, help me to fill out the forms. And he went. There's a reason I am saying I want to say this to us. He went and he believed in himself and he went to BCC. He just had up until March to graduate. He had one more course. I am saying, but where's the thing that I'm going to put up here about the village? That's my point in wanting to say this. And that's why I called the lawyer. And I asked the lawyer, what can I say? So I've left out a whole lot of things that I could say before I say anything, before I came on. And I just want to say that this young man is like all the other, lots of young men, then is what I'm saying. He's just like the same guy who was in the street. These are all young people who are in need of guidance and end up making wrong choices. This is the same young man. So this is the young man that I know. Right? So I just want to, without putting more to it, this is all I just wanted to say. It took me a long time to come on to say anything, to be honest with you. But as I said, I checked. And that's what I want to say to us. We're a small society. I see the comments online. And it's a small society. And just to say, this has nothing to whether he is guilty or innocent. That's not what we're doing here. I just want us to know who he is. And not who he is, because I don't know who he is now. I am talking about my experience with this young man. That's all I'm saying. And we wish a speedy recovery to the other child who was hurt. Mr. Murray.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to make a shift in what I was focused on tonight because of this, what seems to be a proliferation of stabbings in Barbados. And I'd like to open people's eyes, those who were not have younger than me, Maxine, just to give a little social history about weapons used in Barbados. Now they're talking about guns and the big guns and how destructive the guns are. There was a time when stabbing, a knife, a scissors, various parts, a pen knife, a ratchet knife. There was something known as a billfish beak, where people would get the beak of a billfish and sharpen it to maybe make punctures. There was something known as a grain. Again, a grain was something which fellows who go diving fish will shoot and capture the fish. So all these at that time, scissors were particularly available and used by women who would at times carry them in their bags or their brassieres. Okay, and those were the weapons of choice in Barbados in the 50s, 60s, 70s, long before the guns. These were the murders were largely committed. I suspect what is happening now. I have no empirical evidence, but just because of my knowledge of these fields and the way I've observed these behaviors, is that I think because of the heat and the public controversy and attention being applied to guns, that people on the street or people in Barbados who have a sense of whatever reason it's of danger and they need protection might have therefore resorted to, because the heat is on guns and the sentences and the fines for guns are much more severe than knives or whatnot. Although I think there was a time when under circumstances you could be charged or even just having possession of your knife. And when I look at England, because of the control of the guns, the same thing is happening in almost every week in England. You can hear people being stabbed to death, stabbed, arrested. So I'm saying that maybe persons who think they need weapons have adjusted from guns to these weapons, which a knife or ice pick or scissors are more easily concealed than a gun. And if you're caught with them, the penalties. So I'm saying we might have therefore seen a shift in the choice of weapons being used by society to deal with conflict or what they perceive of conflict, or to represent themselves or defend themselves, or if they think they might be attacked or what. So I am saying that this is something which I thought we should, and not that people are necessarily wicked, but that for whatever reason, like I said, like you say, you can't judge, you don't know what circumstances people, right? This is the easy way to go. It's cheaper to buy a knife, I suspect, or scissors, or ice pick, than to buy a gun or rent a gun or whatever you do with guns these days. So I thought that might be useful. Because sometimes I was told, for example, that we call that the use of the cutlass in one of those instances was just because that was the tool that was being used to cut the coconuts to sell. So that not that necessary to anybody, but it was available because that's part of the trade, part of the business. So a lot of these things have much more deeper social significance than we might at first think. I don't know if that makes sense.
No. You're correct. And I saw a comment in the there. I just want to say, Miss Amori, and Miss Maxine, Miss McLean, I'm a little confused tonight, and everybody else, that we talk about, we were there focusing on all these guns, and then all of a sudden we had all these knives attacked, right? So that there's an issue of anger, really, which is beyond. It doesn't matter the weapon, right? But I also want to say that the other young man, and which I know that those who are watching know his name, that was hurt in that situation of BCC, in order to bring some balance to it, my understanding is that young man is not out of the woods, and so here it is. We are mourning for two young men. We are mourning two young men. We are mourning the one on the street. The one was in the pool of blood. we're knives, guns, whatever tool that we're finding, we're mourning them. There is that young man who is
But
there now, with a stab wound, and hopefully he'll be able to move around and be normal and finish his education and live his life, and so he's also hurting. So here it is. The anger is causing us, Mr. Murray, to take whatever it is that we find at the moment. We get angry, and whatever we find at the moment, we think focusing on gun, and then it turned to knife, and it turned to cutlass, and we don't know what else it might we might get
yeah,
to.
but if I may add to another angle on this issue, I listened to probably about 3/4 of the brass tacks program today, which dealt with state of Barbados, crime and violence and the economy, etc. They involve Minister Kirk Humphrey, along with Guy Hewitt, who's Don Valinis. I didn't hear the entire program because when I got back, the last 5 minutes, but it bothered me because I know Minister Humphrey is a trained social worker, had a lot of training experience, worked in the field. I listened to him today, and it was largely an academic performance. I don't know if you listen, Maxine. I am not. He was very reliant on the studies he's done, what he did, working for this body and that. But he's still young in the ministry, so to speak. But I have not yet heard any of him that gives me any sense of a policy being developed to deal with what he's no Minister of Crime Prevention. But even as a Minister of Crime Prevention, he's speaking as though he's a social worker. I'm not sure I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm sure he seems to grasp the nuances and the aligned imperatives and forces that are at work that will change your approach. Okay, it is like, I'm going to say this too, it's like listening to Minister Charles Griffith, who spent most of his working life in community development. When you listen to him, he said he's still to me a community development officer. I do not detect any conceptual, and you need concept. You cannot just be an administrator, though. You have to be able to, you only develop policies and programs out of concepts, out of ideas. And therefore, so when I hear him, I still think of him as being in community development. I'm not saying raising his intellect and his input where there are any policies that he or initiatives or proposals that he might take to his office. So let's do this, let's do that. And the same thing, like I said, I know it's still early days yet for Minister Humphrey, but I think that I was hoping that by now he would have switched focus, switch gears, switch approach, and begin to give me some ideas of what he is likely to come with to help change the situation. And it's not just to be more of the same, otherwise you end with the same results, the same feeling. So I'm still have a question mark because I'm not, like I said, for the third time, yeah, the inkling yet that anything is about to change, and that bothers me.
If I might, Marcy, I think Glenn, you have kind of assessed his comments pretty reasonably. At some point, he did say that he is still, in relation to that part of his portfolio, that he is still, let me put it this way, analyzing and probably engaging his officers. That's part of what I think he might have said. But you're right. I think part of his responsibility as a cabinet member is to make the transition from what I call the operational to the policy and policy making the policy making mindset, because I call it big picture thinking, because at the end of the day, given his training and his work experience, it's been very, it's been at one level, but now you have to look beyond to understand that in diagnosing and recommending solutions, you have to take a big picture. That's why I took the time just now, because I was reading the comments to respond to one of the viewers who suggested that we were blaming fully something, and which is wrong. Really, for me, any discussion we have needs to factor in the whole mix of things. And that's why I took I appreciated the comment from Harley Mosley when he talked about it takes a village. And to me, the notion of a village is that they are, well, beyond that, the reality is that there are several variables or factors or forces which come together to shape who we are. And unless we take time to understand those and recognize that when we seek to confront a problem, we have to confront that problem from a comprehensive understanding of those forces.
Yeah. Let me add this, whether people, so that people don't think I'm bashing or attacking Mr. Humphrey, because I know himself from experience. He's very sensitive about what you critique his performance or his statements. He comes on very authoritatively. I don't know if you remember, Marcia, a year or so ago, when he was on this show, calling when there was a clash between Kimar Safri and our Kimar.
Not this show. It was on Kimar's show.
Sorry, right. Yeah, oh, you're right. Sorry, but he was very sensitive, and he gets very upset when you challenge him. But that's why he was so upset when the leader of the opposition challenged him, and he said, "You can't lecture me about anything." He has to come off of that, and I'm saying that because I was in cabinet also. Haven't gotten into the cabinet. I'm going to give my experience so let us know how I performed. I was expected to perform, and therefore what he needs to do or could do. I was just open his eyes to everything. We got into office. I was appointed, sworn in, etc. He had to settle in the first couple of days. And all the prime minister told me, Senator Murray, you have our manifesto. You know what our policies are. You have your responsibilities. Get to work. And left to me. So I could not then work on my public servant. I had to go in and grapple and start to formulate priorities because I had to take the initiative. And I had to therefore start giving them ideas, concepts about what we wanted to accelerate the various spheres. So I'm saying that we need to get more of that out of not only him, but there's some of these the longer standing ones who still are in that non-idea phase, and they are still not bringing to the table yet the kind of output that we had come over the years to expect of our political leaders and operators. In the same way we come to expect excellence on a certain level from Garfield Sobers and Cricket and Westfall and so Frank Ward, etc. We thought we had always had a tradition of these performers at the political level. But I'm afraid, based on all my experience, I've not seen that quality of intellect and output and effort and ideas and commitment and drive that we've been accustomed to.
Yeah. I see oh, I don't see him anymore. I saw Zico was joining us. Because I really want us to I hear all of us. We're talking about the different issues and so on. And I've heard Mr. Humphrey. Everybody's speaking up here. I think that's what Mr. Murray is saying. Where they're speaking at this level, but to be able to come down now and say, all right, so what we're going to do, and put hands to the plow. Exactly what are we going to do? And I saw what's his name put a comment in the comment section, Zico, and he said, you know what, I saw that guy on the road and it could be me. I was stabbed 5 times. This is a reality that our young men are going through. It's a real thing. And my guess my question is, Mr. Maurice, where do we go from here as a nation? It feels like it's a lot of mourning.
Like in education, it has to start in the home. In the home, people have to have a sense of right and wrong. Do is part of that discipline from day one. I haven't done sociology and psychology or what in my younger days. Okay. When I got children, I from the very first couple of days, weeks, they knew yes and no. Because of you have to teach them yes and no, like yeah, right and wrong, do or don't do, and that discipline has to be instilled from the parents, the parents, whether as through the parent or as the grandparenting or the aunt parent or the uncle parenting or whatever. It has to start from there, and they have to. For the studies have shown that by the age of 3, a child's personality is basically formed, and if you don't teach respect for authority, yes or no, don't do. You're not supposed to, right? Reward and punishment. If by the time a child gets to nursery school, primary school, it's all over. These teachers are not trained or not expected. They shouldn't be expected how to teach them, how to shape their sense of discipline. And I love it by those discipline. Discipline is not only do or don't do. Discipline, so being on time, being tidy, your shoes are clean, your fingernails are clean, you write well, you keep the surroundings. All that is discipline. It's not just hairstyles and backpacks. It is the discipline of their life, the do's and the limits that there are in every sphere of life that have to be taught from the very beginning, so they get accustomed to it, and not that they don't. Because otherwise, while children are there observing their surroundings and the adults, and they're absorbing, they're recording, and then if they don't, otherwise they would then imitate and reproduce what they saw.
Yeah. But Mr. Murray, I was so you talk about the home. Ms. McLean talk about the village inclusive of the school, regardless of which school it is. But and I am one who always say that we have to look at it in a holistic way. It's very comprehensive, and it's not just the government to blame. But I remember almost it's not Easter yet, but Easter will be in a couple of weeks, right? And I remember that Good Friday, and people might say, you keep talking about the Good Friday, because I was reflecting on that today, and I'm thinking, how do we, as a country, how do we give the police, Mr. Murray, back their authority? I from where I'm from, Ms. McLean and Mr. Murray, where I'm from, we would have heard of a lot more young men dead on the streets by the police. We would have heard of more, and I'm just not asking for police brutality or any kind of thing, but if it is that you are, we were down at Nelson Street, close to Nelson Street yesterday. If I understand, Jemmotts Lane is quite near to Nelson Street, and we left down there like minutes to 1, right? I think, or 12:30, and some of us a little later because we were packing up. And by after 2, someone sent me a message that there were, gunshots like peas down in Nelson Street in the broad daylight. Then they went up to Vine Street. And I'm saying, but I don't understand. Is it that they see the police? It doesn't matter to them. It's like there's no deterrent. There's nothing to stop them.
Marcia, you hit on a very important point. And based on, in the Prime Minister's office, I also had to deal with some security matters from time to time. I remember I went to a security conference in the Caribbean people in Antigua. So I was relaxing lunch and talking, and this fellow from Jamaica said, "Babbage, what are you all doing in Barbados with these criminals?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I keep reading that you would have, they would attack you, you'd be shooting, and then you would get injured, and then you take them to the hospital to recover." He said, no. What we do, you put them in the car, you drive around till they're dead, then you take them to the hospital to be pronounced dead. So you don't have to, you only deal with them once, not twice, when you let them get away. And I think so that's the point I'm saying. And part of the problem from my information is that, and also arising out of that, this Good Friday phone call incident, the police from my RFB don't think that they have the full support of the authorities, and they do not have the freedom to do what they want to do because people are protected, they're cosseted, they're special, and they are not, in other words, they're not given the full onslaught and pushback in the language and in the method that would push the criminal element on the back. But because the criminal, they have businesses to operate, things to do, unless they're disrupted or whatever, they would just be business as usual. You make it more comfortable. So therefore, what I do not quite understand. I remember the days of Aviston Prescott, Springer, the commissioner. I remember Grandy Watson. I remember if you run, those men were full men, full commissioners that came to Barbados from Toronto and spoke for themselves and the police force. There were right now saying that there were.
Yes.
At one time, I think George said his hands were tight, but they were able to speak and articulate and shape public opinion so you get to understand what's going on. I don't get
they were able to exercise the true independence that they're supposed to have.
The only people the police should report, Marcy, I think you're confident. The only people the police should report to the commission's reporter
precisely
is the president. Nobody else.
And this is part of the challenge, because when you look at, and I go back to the Good Friday example, what better or what worse way, I call it the worst way to do it. What a way to demoralize and to interfere with. I mean, because when you do that, you are diminishing, that's the word I want also, apart from the demoralizing, impacting morale, you're diminishing the authority of the police. They're supposed to have a job to do. They're part of our system. Let the people do their job, and and so on. But when you do that, you are enabling certain kinds of negative behaviors,
But Maxine, you cannot have parallel authorities.
All right, that's a good way. I like that expression.
You see, there are these little things that don't, if they're not recognized that way. Did the phone call come? How long would the phone call? The phone call came. It was during COVID for the phone call, right?
Yes.
Okay. But there was not an incident where there was something happening on some day, and a restaurant in the same area was opened.
Right.
And had been shut down.
Things were supposed to be closed.
Okay.
Same
but after that, there was an announcement that the Red Sea government.
Oh yes.
The Red Sea government apologized to the Myanmar government for being open the restaurant that day.
Yes.
The Red Sea government. Do you see how they are perceiving themselves? An equal and opposite force. So when you have that thinking, if they operate as though that's what it is, they're two parallel operations, you're looking for trouble. It would demoralize. It would affect how people think they're allowed to do the work, because they're not saying that they got a job to do, but they got lives to live, they got friends with, and therefore, unless they're not prepared to go full out, unless they know they have full backing behind them, what they do in every possible area of their endeavor.
Yeah, I just believe that we are too soft on the criminals. Now, you might say, well, but you were just talking about the young men and understand their background and so on. But I'm saying, if you are going to be so brazen to be in a car in the middle of a day. We just had a young man who got killed playing. He was just watching people play netball. Okay, you hear the news. You don't care about society. You don't care about society. We could have been down there, and they pass and spraying the place, and somebody gets shot. It's almost, they don't care. And I think on the other hand, so we'll be balancing out everything tonight. I think the police needs to be empowered. I see Zico John. I'm going to bring him in the studio. The police needs to be empowered. We the community have to have a no nonsense approach to crime, while at the same time we're going to be helping our young men. You see, so it's comprehensive. But we need the government to put the policies and the structures and the legislation in place so that we can have a peaceful society. We need them. We need the police to be paid properly. And we need the police to be armed properly to match what they're doing and go far and above. And I'm hoping Mr. Humphrey is listening to us. So your sociology degrees and your masters and all that you have and all that you've studied, that's fine. And it says you probably are qualified for the job. But we're going to need some real policies, real legislation, real work in order to get this thing done. Good night, Zico.
Hi, good night, viewers. How are you doing today?
Good night. You know, I always love to have you guys in with us, younger people, right, Mr. Murray?
Yeah, yes. Good night, Zico.
Zico, you know, I heard you made a comment. You said when with the little boy who lost his life playing the
watching.
Not watching. Thank you, Miss McLean. Yeah, I'm a little confused tonight. You know, I know I get too emotional. But watching the netball game, and you said something, and I haven't forgotten it. You said the police need to go up there and leave no stones unturned. Unturned? Whatever. Yeah.
Unturned, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Yeah, I think it needs to be a force. You need to actually come towards these men with a force to show that it's something to actually reckon with. I don't think the gangsters or the men from the block brought the fear for the authority as the way they should. I do believe that they need to let a statement down in terms of you going on and ransacking the place till you tell yourself like we can't allow this kind of heat to come back in the community. So we gotta do better as a block if you're looking to make money or if you're looking to continue to operate the way we was operating. We need to get together because the amount of heat that the police are about to bring on we for doing these kind of crimes ain't worth it. I think too many blocks too relaxed in terms of police passing, but you know they're still smoking the marijuana and they're still involved in the activities and not really caring the way they should actually. And I think that they really need to put the foot down and really terrorize the place a little bit. You know, drive fear back into the hearts of these gangsters and don't believe that they got fear for the Lord the way they should.
Yeah, they couldn't have any fear, and we have just had a situation like that. If the police had caught those guys or gone in there, ransacked the place, okay, and dealt with the thing, you know, we need to listen. It's like you have your child in your house. I know a lot of people don't believe that you must lash children. But not I have 3 sons, and not all of them. They not everybody got the same amount of lashes. Some children, some sons, there are some children, Miss McLean, that you just need to look at them. Okay,
but that's your last son. He was a quiet one.
Listen,
when
you have that. Listen. Let me tell you something, Miss McLean. You have some sons there. You have sons. And I know, and a lot of them, they're going to be lighting up the comments now. But it's the truth. I'm being honest tonight. You have sons, and I tell you, you better know how to raise them sons that you have. Trying to be their friend is not going to work, you know, for a lot of sons in these days, girls as well. But when you have men dealing with
that till later.
Huh?
I say you become their friends when they become adults.
Yes, but my husband taught me. He said, Marcia, the boy isn't listening to you because of your tone of voice, because of the way you're speaking to him. That's what Dave had to teach me, Mr. Murray, Because when he went to work, they had me around their fingers.
Right,
He
right.
said to me, it's because it's of what you are doing. You understand?
Especially male children. I always say it takes a man to raise a man. Like a mother can raise a very productive young man, but in terms of being a man, it takes a man to definitely raise a man. And you need that in your household, or you need either a role model or some kind of male figure within that boy's life for him really to be the man he's supposed to be.
That's because children are always testing their parents.
That's true.
Testing their limits. I learned that from my children. Because, like I said, because of my background in psychology, a child will be in the cradle crying, well fed, it's not wet, but they want attention at hand. And if you cry, they know they'll work out quite early that if they cry 10 times, if you keep thinking, they will cry 10 times to get their attention. If you go past 11, 12, they'll shut up. They're testing your limits. They're testing, so you have to expose them to limits of behavior, right and wrong, those basic things. So that another thing I taught my children within days, weeks old, when they say no, when they want me to pick up, I take their finger and hit them. No, 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 no.
You are abusing that child. You abuse the child.
They associate that little tap on the finger with no. I don't approve. No problem.
Well, Mr. Murray, the police need to go. No. Because you know why? You know why, guys? Let me say this quick before Zico get in something there. You know why? I say this to my sons all the time, and my husband will tell them, listen, if we don't discipline you, the police is going to do it. Somebody in life is going to discipline. Discipline does not necessarily mean all the time you're going to go like this, right? Sometimes you're going to go like this, or sometimes you're going to look. Sometimes
I had to do that only once to each of them, once. The rest, I met my daughter to take she came home from school. She's much younger. She was born in the 80s. She has rights. I have rights. Yes. I said, listen, these are the rights you have. You have a right to go to school, behave well, do your work, and come home and be able to say, otherwise, I am the dictator. There's no democracy in here. I am a dictator. And no problem. Again, limits were laid down. Yes. And they understand that. That's what you have to do. But see what we want, you have to disrupt the criminal element. Put force, put pressure. Otherwise, but don't forget, we saw a progression. There was a phone call. There's a declaration of an alternative government. And then you hear people negotiating and reward negotiating
with the criminals. And this one also said he was going to be speaking. This he went back and clarified, but what he was actually saying was he actually said he was going to be meeting the gangsters. But let me go to Zico. Go ahead, Zico.
Yes, Marcy. Even I remember being back on the block and you're chilling with the men or what's not. You know, the first time I said, man, that's a man in uniform, man. It's to be friendly for the black jeeps. See, black jeeps, because you know that's the task force. So you know for sure what not to do and what to do. And most blocks don't want that kind of pressure. Most blocks don't want that kind of heat, as I'm so to say. So like at the end of the day, you knew for sure like who police to respect and who police not to respect. And they could tell you for a fact, the majority of times when block men see police in uniform, not the task force, but police in our North City, but police in uniform, they don't necessarily respect them. They don't see them as the force to reckon with. They don't see them as man. So it is no respect where that's concerned. It's no respect where that's concerned. So I remember on the block, if somebody had did something, whether it was a war, it was wars back and forth between two different blocks, you would try to avoid as much as possible because it would affect the money that you was making on the block. Because you know for sure you can't come out there or the police, you know, pulling up and doing random searches and causing the kind of pressures and things to happen. So you didn't want any kind of things to happen. So if somebody did something without the boss saying or without the big man saying, you would say, listen, you either gonna turn yourself or you can't link in the block no more because you're causing too much heat. And that used to bring a level of calm and peace to the block, you know, especially for people who they're doing reckless, stupid crimes. I think that's what needs to be done, especially the task force and the BDF needs to go out there, start turning a couple tables, shut on a couple blocks, and make them presence be known.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that, and I want when the police starts to do that, and once they're doing it and they are not, now this is why we got to make sure they're paid. So it's a whole overhaul, Miss McLean, that needs to be done. Make sure they're paid, they're trained properly, but allow the police to do their jobs. When things happen in the house, happen around in your community, who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? You have to call the police.
Calls the police.
Everybody calls the police, but then we don't want to cooperate with them. We don't. You harbor the criminals inside. We need, the whole society needs to decide that it's not going to work. We are not going to tolerate this. Allow the police to do their jobs. Okay, it's very, very important. There's a caller on the line, though. There's a caller. Good night, caller.
Good night, Marcia and panel.
Good night.
I want to approach this thing on two levels, on a kind of balanced level.
Can't hear?
Ezekiel said.
Can you hear?
Speak loud. He has to speak up.
Okay, speak up a little louder.
I said I wanted to address the whole matter that you're talking about now on a balanced level. Zico mentioned something that I think that needs to be addressed and solved from this point of view.
I think the caller has dropped out. Marcia, have you dropped out as well? I suspect that Marcia might have dropped out.
Yes, my apologies. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, caller. Can you repeat what you said?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I said that in addressing what Zico said is that I believe that the evolution of policing in Barbados can address that, in that he is saying that the members of the public are afraid of regular police officers in uniform are only the task force. Now, because of the evolution of the amount of guns and high-powered guns that have flooded almost every parish, from not only a criminological but a crime science point of view, I would suggest that, like Trinidad and other places, the type of carry that ordinary police officers would have on a day-to-day would have to step up. Because the truth is, there's nothing wrong with every single police officer, but I'll be honest with you. I shoot anything shoulder assisted from cadets and stuff is very easy, but I used to find that sometimes small pistols will be like some challenge. But where I'm going with this is that you're not going to carry gutter pert to a state fight. So what I'm saying is that I think that discussions should be had, but there's only one solution or one major solution. And stop the pushback to this is going to be people saying, how it doesn't look, it don't look any different in Trinidad, it doesn't look any different in Guyana. That police officers may have rather big or small M16s and stuff going around with. I'm not saying that it has to be every incident or everywhere, but what I'm trying to say is that every last person should be able to shoot bigger weapons and stuff, because the truth is, look, Barbados has to get real. There's too much automatic weapons on the ground, and police officers have to go home to families. The average police officer is not going to go in an environment where they know there's heavy artillery in a space. You want to kill them or what? You want to underpay them and kill them too? No. To summon the criminal element in Barbados, you have to have equal firepower and equal strategy training for everybody. Hear the word, the littlest police officer coming in should be able to shoot shoulder assisted weapons just as comfortable as they would regular hand pistols. So I think that is one thing. And the next thing I'm going to deal with, not only to support, but to also bash. I am not calling the person, but I'm calling the situation. I remember very well being on a raid, and before the raid go even happened, a certain person is going to call their family member. Be careful here. They're coming down X and Y and K. That has to stop in the police force. You cannot have people in the police force calling their relatives and stuff and telling them, you're there. Because we have a saying in police terms, you're there. That is foolishness. It means that the very person that is supposed to be protecting is neutralizing. And how much persons are like that?
Yes.
You have to look at things for and call a spade a spade. You cannot have the police element or military for that matter being the disarming elements too. You are causing destruction to national security. You're going on a raid. The people don't have to know it's a way. Okay, you're going to do what you have to do. I think that here's where crime strategy has to be spoken to on a balanced level and a realistic level, because Barbados is too small and the level of crime and artillery on the ground in each parish is too much, and it has to be dealt with and spoken to on a realistic level. That's all I have to say, at least for now.
Wow, yes, very well said. Very well said, caller. Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, Marcy, do you remember how long ago the Prime Minister announced the formation of a serious crime and anti-gang unit with technical assistance for the British government, etc.?
Yes, I
There
remember
is nothing I've seen or heard since then that is in place and functioning and doing anything. It is more and more of the same. And Zico's making the point, but if you look bit by bit, the authority, the respect, the fear of the policeman has been eroded. There was a time, if you've all seen videos where police get out a raid, going in a neighborhood to arrest somebody, and the residents, the women especially, up in the police face and curse them, one point, one snap them. That should not be allowed. When they go to drive fair and push. Otherwise, I'm surprised that somebody's not gotten hurt yet in one of those raids. Because it is. I remember growing up, the police uniform was a
good night, caller. Just hang on. Just give us 1 second, please. So just complete your point, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, I'm saying, but once that, and let me make the point. People might not want to agree with this, but I've heard the deputy, the chief, the acting director talking about the prevalence of marijuana. You remember? You're supposed less than 15 grams.
Something like that.
It's permissible. But I've got bad places to see men smoking right next to policemen. You don't know if you got 15 or 55, but they have so lost fear of. They've normalized it now to smoke marijuana anyway, and that's all of that. Nobody says, well, if I get caught, I mean, you check this. No, we're just doing it because that's the thing to do. You have to bring back fear and standards and limitations.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Murray. Caller, good night. Thank you for calling the Marcia Week Show.
Yes, good night, Mr. Beach. I like to pick up. Hello.
Hello, is this Mr. Young?
I like to pick up on where Zico said something there just now. I was listening to the show.
Yes, sir.
Now, Zico, he has went through his experience, okay? In Barbados, we have policemen. They are not paid properly. You got to remember that police has a family. And when they have to go home to their family at night, if the police are not well paid, and when they're going to action, because you got to call these men, brief them if you're going on a raid. As someone would say, somebody might call and say, well, look, I have a family member, such and such, they're coming such and such a place. But then you select these men, and they're coming, they only know when they're going on the raid, exactly when they get on the spot, what's supposed to happen. The other thing I would like people to understand, yes, there have women that have raised boys, men, raised boys to be men. Some of the women have raised these boys to be great men. But also people got to remember that when these young men go around, like ram sheep, having children, and don't support them, these are this is part of where the elements come from. Yes. Because when these young men go around like ram sheep to your daughter, my daughter, and just leaving them there, and they have these children, who have raised these children? Yeah, he should be telling men to help support their children, help raise their children, and see that they're on the right path. You know, we just can't have young men going around breeding these young women like ram sheep, and just like some of you go around and say, you calling out like you're calling out a dog or something. Not even my dog would answer. When you see these lovely young girls and some of these young men, they hear pick up and whine and all. So like it. So some of our violence is some of the circumstances where children being raised a thing.
Yes.
I raise children. And when my children were raised, Marcia, they would tell you as old as their age. There's a difference between chastising a child and brutalizing a child.
Yes.
There's two different things. And I made a statement to you all already that we have a certain person go around this country who look at children in school and say, you have rights. And children come home to their parents, yes, a child have rights. But when you have an ID card and a national insurance card, and you're working, you have to pay the rent in the house and so on, right? You know that you're dependent on them to facilitate your, you know what I mean, your expenses. But they have to learn to take part in these things that once when they become young men and married and have a wife, that they be able to take care of their responsibility and their chores. So we can, you see, there's one side to say, men, yes, you need men to teach young boys to be men. But also you have women who raise children, women who raise children who work hard. Some of our parents, their fathers went on and leave them. They had 6 and 8 children. They schooled them. Mr. Murray will tell you some of us went to school barefoot. I don't know. As Maxine would say. You have men who grow up in society. But the problem that we have, that people that get up the ladder, raise in the village, leave the village after they get a job, get proper education, and turn around, kick down the ladder. You don't come back to help the community because in my days we had youth groups and so on. We have debating societies. And some of these fellas went on and went into the JSCs and so on. So we need Marcia to get back to basics. We're too far. And the other thing I hear Mr. Humphrey on the radio today attacking Donville, Mr. Ennis. And Mr. Humphrey said, as Mr. Murray said, Mr. Humphrey was ranting and raging. He had such a high audience, they telling Donville, what is the Democratic Labour Party going to do? What are you going to do? And that's not the point. They're in government. They're supposed to set the policies and help guide the nation. And another thing is that Mr. Humphrey in his ministry, when you had the child care board and all of them that want to join all these people all together, you want help, has they come out and call these people together and sit down and explain to these people what is going on? They want to bring them on the one body now, it's an umbrella body. Tell Mr. Humphrey stop the psychology and the sociology that he went to school at and call these people together. The same thing tell Mr. Ennis when Mr. Ennis said to him, yes, the Attorney General said they were paid, and he did admit it. You know, Mr. Humphrey said when Mr. Thorne was in Parliament in committee, he asked him a question. I don't have to answer that. That's the kind of policy and the kind of idea they're taking to young people. Children watch television, and we need these people to get on better. 28 of them. And when they're able to speak, they tell you the Prime Minister say that they don't have the balls or the audacity to stand up and say as men, when there's something is being done and it is wrong, just like they sell our silver, give away our silver, and none of them in there, Mr. Humphrey should be shamed. Thank you, Marcia.
Yes, thank you so much for calling, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Any comments? Anybody has? Go ahead, Zico, because he was speaking to you in particular.
Yeah. I do agree. As I said, I do believe that a woman can raise a very productive young man. But when it comes down to being a man, I think it takes a man to raise a man. Things that men instill in men, only men can do it. Only men can relate to it. And a lot of families, a lot of children growing up with fathers within the home. So you got daughters don't understand what's the purpose for a man. And then you got men not understanding what men's supposed to do. So they're not living purposeful lives because they don't understand what's the purpose for a man. So what happens is that young boys tend to crave the mentorship of a man. So sometimes we tend to sit in alignment on the blocks, we tend to sit in alignment with other men in dominant spaces. And you may tell yourself, why is that? Because really and truly they crave that masculine energy, they crave that masculine leadership. So I do say that it takes a man to raise a man. And sometimes it could be positive, but sometimes it can be negative. But most of the times, you're going to gravitate to that negative pull. So that's the reason why I'm saying that in terms of a man raising a man. He also mentioned another thing he was talking about. He was talking about in terms of the police, right? In terms of the police, he was talking about the police. But I must say, I was raised in Nelson Street. I was born and raised Nelson Street, and then I went to the Pine and then Vauxhall. I was raised to hate the police. And the reason why I was raised to hate the police, and I gotta be honest, I gotta speak from this side as well, is because sometimes we saw a lot of unfairness where the police was concerned. You know, they came, they ransack your house, they steal your stuff and stuff like that. So as a young man coming up, there was a distrust where the police was concerned. So when you go into communities like the Gore Hills and the Silver Hills and even in Nelson Streets and what's not, the reason why these don't speak up is because they have no respect for the police as well. Or they was raised in a way that the police is the enemy. Just the how people tend to see the government as the enemy. They tend to see the police as the enemy as well. And then police knowing this, it's very easy to say the police should do this there, but the police don't want to be the victim because the police still got to be off duty at some point in time. The police also got family that to be victimized, you know, and even they themselves got to be secured, not just on the job, but even afterward, or even their family as well. So I do understand sometimes the reluctancy for police not wanting to engage so harshly, and I do understand why the community itself don't cooperate with the police as well.
So we need that trust between the police and the community. The truth is that we've got to solve this thing because we just can't sustain it. I saw someone sent me, two persons sent me some information that a tourist was stabbed this weekend. The night before.
That would have been Thursday,
But I want you to know that it didn't reach any of the newspapers. You're hearing it on here, and we've checked it, right, Miss McLean?
And a friend got that information out of the UK because it was I think it was a UK tourist, and somebody sent me a note saying that they had heard this out of the UK. So I think part of what is happening, and if I might, there's something I want to touch on after I comment, that happened. And I believe that what has happened is that those stories are kept out of the public domain. Let me put it that way. And the belief is that if you publicize it, you might harm tourism. But it is most unfortunate that we hear as Barbadians about something like that coming from overseas, which means that the victims and their friends and whatever hear about these things, and we don't know. And the danger of that is that if you don't know that it is going on, that can help to make the situation, to escalate the situation. Because if there's no publicity about it, the perpetrators of the crime are aware that it is not being spoken about. So they probably may feel, freer to go and do it some more. But if I might, Marcia, I've been listening for quite a while in terms of our discussion of what's happening in the communities on the block, etc. And all of those things are correct. But, at the end of the day, we talk about high-powered weapons. And yes, somebody may disassemble a weapon and ship it in parts to some young individual. But the question remains, and we've heard comments of previous commissioners of police about this, where are these weapons coming from? And my concern, and I wrote it down here, where is criminal activity taking place? Criminal activity is not only somebody breaking in and entering a house or shooting another, over a drug deal gone bad or whatever. The criminals are also those who I describe as the intermediaries.
Yes, ma'am.
The persons supplying the drugs, who are controlling not a few ounces of marijuana that they may distribute or whatever in a neighborhood or try to take into a school or whatever the case may be, but the people who are importing that. And I listened today, and we were talking about Minister Humphrey earlier and how sensitive he is. I hope when I marked his scripts as a student, he rather than be sensitive, he looked at the comments I put on his paper. I mean, I think generally he's an intelligent individual, but I think he needs to listen to Glenn. But the point I'm making is that this talk about span of a weapon and all that. The reality is, people, we hear rumors. We hear about people renting guns, for example. A 20-year-old renting a gun or a 25-year-old renting a gun does not probably rent it from his neighbor around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? We hear these things, and my concern is when a young man is arrested for armed robbery, let's say, why is it that he can the police, because when you hear of multiple arrests for a single crime, I believe, I'm not in the police station interrogating anybody, but I believe that what happens is that person, in confessing, probably decides that I have to spill on the other ones because I'm not going down by myself.
That's what happens.
If that person is going to confess that George Brown was with me, with Mark Twain or whoever when he did it, why isn't he able to say if he did not import the gun, or if he bought it or borrowed it or rented it, who supplied it?
Yeah.
So, I hear us going down the line and what I consider to be half or part of the equation. And I will say this. I listened today and there's this talk about scanners and so on. And I want to say that during the time I was a member of cabinet, there were portable scanners. And I want to say also that there's a new regime in place where I estimate it, and the people at customs and the police and so on can confirm this. 80% of the containers approximately that leave the port are not opened and examined before exiting the port. And I would suggest that therein lies a problem. And so, sorry, go on, you want to say something?
Yeah, good point, Maxine, because I heard the Minister of Tourism said last week that they had spent, the port itself had spent $25 million on improving the security. So, but he did not say that's certainly cannot, for scanners, etc., did not cover unopened containers. But I think we are touching a point which that you have to understand this. I've said it on the show a number of times. Crime is the best organized business in the world. The biggest and best organized, but that is why that will help answer the questions, how are these things getting here? Because it's so well entrenched, so well organized that people are able to get by in the system because people are part of the system. That is why you have never been able to eradicate crime from any society.
Also to interject, to be honest, I give you some insights in terms of what you was mentioning in terms of the guns. When these young boys get hold and they put these aunts, where you get this gun from? To be honest, right? Do I know how these guns get into Barbados? Yes, I do. Do I know who supply these guns? Yes, I do. But I can also tell you this. The majority of these gangs, especially the big blocks in Barbados, that we may know, I'm not gonna call the names, but the big blocks in Barbados, the bosses, they tend to work for the police as informants. So this is the reason we realize that how comes this man on this block and he's the big man so long and he's still free and he ain't getting locked up? The reality of it is this is a negotiation. What you can do, I can give you 3 or 4 of my soldiers, small price, petty crime, a gun here, drugs here, whatever the case may be, and information and what's not, in order for me to stay free. And that's what tends to happen majority of the times. So even if a youngster go in and say, well, I get my gun from, Boss Brown, and the police then go to Boss Brown and say, well, listen, you man say that he get the gun from you, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. They cut deals in them situations. So you tend to see people committing crimes and then going, and what person back out already? The majority is that people informing and they're talking about it. But what tends to happen, the ones especially on the top of the pyramid, especially when it comes to bosses, they tend to really and truly work with the police when it comes to informing and giving information and in return for security and free reign to do ways you gotta do.
So and this is trade off, essentially.
Exactly.
Trade off.
So that's part of the high organization that you're talking about. See, you're right, because sometimes what they do, they would deliberately sacrifice a person or two with drugs. They get caught because with Vibes Cartel coming, drugs gotta come in for the show.
Thank you. So I give you 2, 3 little men to get hold of the little gun.
Yeah. And you go for them, you feel it, but the big get coming in. It's part of the high organization of international crime. It's the highest, best, biggest business in the world. Remember that. I never may go back to a different position when we were talking about children at home. In raising or in any organization, they have to be people with certain status, certain roles, certain duties, certain responsibilities. If each person knows and respect and fulfill their responsibilities, their roles, their duties, etc., no problems. When people don't know or they care for or do not care about their duties, that you have problems. That is why it is important to let the children know, the mother, the father, etc. There's a hierarchy, they're figures of authority. You have to cooperate or respect, or you pay the price. Reward and punishment. You always remember that.
You definitely need that. And I want to, I'm here listening intently to the conversation and waiting on calls. People, I guess, they get caught up in the conversation and they aren't calling. But I personally believe, gender people tonight, viewers and panelists and guests, that we really need to begin to pressure. This pressure group needs to begin to pressure the government on how guns are coming into the country. We really need, let's deal with it. When you talk to the young people, especially the millennials, that's what they're saying. But Marcia, we don't manufacture guns. Let's get to the root of this problem. And so I believe, loyal opposition pressure group, that this is an area we want the Attorney General and Mr. Kirk Humphrey to come to the people of Barbados and say to them, listen, we have been doing our research and here is the report. Right, Mr. Murray, because we've been talking around the issue. In my estimation, we're talking around it, and answer some questions. Do you have people who are in leadership in this country, leadership in terms of governance, that are involved in bringing in guns in the country? These are straight questions. So the guys on the block, Zico, they have a whole. They could tell you who they're connected to in there. That's the truth. I'm not calling anybody name. But I know names we could call. There are people that are involved in government. That's how I would put it, right? That are connected to the streets. Period. Straight talk.
I remember this as a youngster, chilling on the block as a youngster, wrong election time. Even then you would see politicians going directly to the bosses because they know who the boss is. It's not a mystery or is this spooky thing who is that controlling the guns and who is that controlling. It's not this thing that everybody's scratching their head wondering how everybody knows how it happening. It's not a big mystery. I just don't think we want to address it. I think one of the things that the minister needs to do is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. First of all, this gang talking to gang leaders and saying, no, we don't. We communicate with community leaders. This is what we can do. If you're a community leader, we're open up to have a discussion so we can address this problem. But for those who are terrorizing our communities, there's no negotiation, there's no speaking. I am coming for you, and this is what needs to be done. And then you basically stamp your authority. This is not me sitting down at the wrong table and we negotiating. All right, this is what we want, and this is what we can stop doing after a while. If we get this, no. You come, you plant your foot. We do not negotiate with terrorists. And if y'all continue to do this particular thing, we are coming for you. Bottom line, there's nothing to discuss. There is nothing to discuss. If you're a community leader, sure, we can have this conversation. But if you're a gang leader, no, there's no conversation.
But sometimes community leaders and gangsters are sometimes one and the same. How do you define who is a so-called community leader or community practitioner? What does it mean?
It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. If you have a record and you realize that it is a pattern surrounding you where crime is concerned, there's no conversation. There's no conversation. If I can see you actively in the community, being involved, helping young people, being productive, helping entrepreneurship, them kind of things, then yeah, we will really, really rally around those individuals. But for you to say you want to talk to the block bosses and things, you're sending out the wrong impression. It's like, yeah, man, we go sit down and talk. You go come to company block and talk to me. No. That's the wrong message.
You're making
looking for having conversations with those who are uplifting their community, those who, and then friendly, you got a positive outlook.
I know a few politicians who have over the years themselves refused to deal with men on the block. Just don't take them on. And there are others who will come and say, okay, I got 40 men. These are 40 ID cards, a harm per card, and then negotiate election day. I mean, that is commonplace in Barbados. Commonplace.
But we're not
you
going
work for a price per vote.
Look at that. Look at that. And then there are, Mr. Murray, I have spoken to several persons, right? Persons who are young men, because with our ministry, we work with young men of the blocks and so on. And they will tell me there is a certain leader in this country that have a godson. And everybody know when I say this, those who are in the communities, they know this is what I'm saying. If I'm not on the streets and I know there is a certain leader in this country that have a godson, Okay, I could tell you the gang the godson is associated with. Okay, and that godson is involved in bringing in a lot of the weapons and ammunition in this country. And every time I sat in even today, somebody, it's been confirmed all over. Are you going to tell me that the police doesn't know this? The attorney general doesn't know it? The Kirk Humphreys and all of those that deal with crime, they don't know this? And that person is related, connected to someone in a high standing in government? We can't. The point is this, that we've got to, the citizens we've got to demand something of these people. We are paying them.
Marcia, it is further complicated the fact that nobody has been saying it publicly, but except remember there was an incident in the city with somebody getting beaten up or died. Remember? Somebody from Kensington New Road or one of those streets.
Oh yes.
Remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah. This fellow was supposed to be in a homeless. He said he was supposed to be homeless.
That's the guy who died?
He was supposed to be homeless. Yeah, he died. He was homeless, but he had an address.
Oh, yes, yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
You remember the stories here about certain groups.
Correct.
Certain ethnic groups related and involved in that?
Yes, sir.
Whatever became of that story?
Not
so it is not as straightforward. There are wheels within wheels. Because it's business, it's money at stake, and therefore we have to take a more realistic, hard look at these things. Because in any crime situation, the big bosses are always insulated from the action on the ground. That is why it's so difficult. It takes so many years to catch a big drug dealer in the States, and so they have to catch them on a charge with income tax or something or prostitution rather than the charge. Because they insulate the hair, the less you will get, but your people carry the instruction and control the military. So we have to open our eyes to what is going on the streets of Barbados, in the city and other areas where people are involved in activity, but we don't seem to understand what's going on.
We got to open our eyes. Now, Ms. McLean want to say something. I just said something quickly. We have to open our eyes and we have to get real. Look at what is happening. Get real. Clean out the government. Clean out the connection with the people in leadership and the gangs. And empower the police. Let the government leave the police alone to do their jobs. Anyway, Ms. McLean.
No, I agree. I think as I raise that whole issue because I recognize that it is easy to talk about the youngster on the street. Correct. Who are pretty much set up to declare war on each other. But at the end of the day, there are people sitting down very comfortably and engaging in these things. And then you hear people come and they try to bamboozle the public by saying, oh, we didn't have this. And I go back to the issue of ports and containers, and people argue. My question, I'll put a simple question on the table. We have spent millions of dollars on security, as Glenn said. Have they taken the time to train people to use those scanners properly? Have they done random searches, given the decision to apply a system where 80% of the containers leave the port unopened and probably not properly scanned, if scanned at all? Have they done that? So at the end of the day, a whole set of things are happening. And so you come to pontificate, and I am not condoning any petty crime, not petty crime, because the kind of violence that we're seeing, crime committed by youngsters and so on, that is part of it, but that is only a fraction of what is happening. And if we really are serious, we need, and you see, these things are connected to some other things that we will talk about, because at the end of the day, and I think Zico explained it in relation to the horse trading that takes place, we will sacrifice few people so that I use the term you use, the bosses will continue to flourish, and then you compound that with actions which serve to demean the police force, to diminish the authority. I mean, and all of these things. And so at the end of the day, my final point is, are you serious as a government in terms of tackling crime? And if you're doing so, I think part of what we can conclude is that there has to be short-term, medium, and long-term solutions. And we've been talking about some of the medium to long-term solutions, and we get into talking about the role of community, etc. But at the hardcore of criminal activity, at the heart of this thing, has to be a commitment to deal with the criminals at all levels. And if we're not prepared to do that, we will continue to sacrifice our young people. And I say, more specifically, sacrifice our young men.
Very good point. But go ahead, Mr. Murray.
Yeah, my probably final point would be that.
It's 10 o'clock.
the focus, quite understandably, is normally on the police. But we have to remember that there are other agencies involved in this whole crime detection and
security
controlling. Yeah. What about customs? You know, there's often very often a tug of war between the two agencies who have to find an authority. And you cannot expect just the police to be pristine, clean, and like virgins untouched when other agencies might not be that clean, because they're all involved in the network. So we have to take a radical, hard-headed look at every particular participant, person, or agency involved in the process, and make sure that they are brought to book wherever possible to maintain the good order and governance of the land. So we have to be really frank. You know, like for years they've been talking about cameras at the airport, cameras and customs at the airport. Has this ever been done? If so, why not? What is so difficult? What is so difficult? So why would people object to that?
Yeah, I agree. We just have to get real. We're going to have to give our closing points. So it's getting so interesting. I guess that's why the caller's not calling. But I just want to make these two statements. Mr. Murray and Ms. McLean and Zico. And I want to ask the Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Mia Mottley, I would like to ask the question, ma'am, why are you so soft on crime? Can you tell us, why are you so soft on crime? That's what it looks like to us. We told you there's people, okay, there's a crime issue, and you came up and you said you're going to tint you're going to remove the tint because you want money. We have not heard anything else from you since. Why are you so, I think you need to tell us why you're so soft on crime. And I want to say to Barbados, I want to say this here. You know what? I'm going to hold that back. Go ahead, Miss. Who is going to go?
I think two things I wanted to say before. Yeah, two things I wanted to say before that. In order for you to really destroy this machine, where guns and weapons is coming into the country, you got to follow the money. And to be honest, if you really do follow the money, it's going to lead you places where it's going to be connected to very powerful and people in positions where nobody don't want to answer for or take accountability for. So we ain't get the answer to that question at all when we do follow the money. The second thing I would like to say is this, and this is to take it back to the previous topic we had earlier with the young man who was stabbed. At that age, I too was also stabbed. I too was also the aggressor, and I too was also stabbed 5 times. He was stabbed once, and he lost his life. I was stabbed 5 times, and I was still able to be here today to talk to y'all. So when we judging sometimes, we judging young men, and we saying, well, yeah, that's the kind of lifestyle, and this is, it's so easy to do that. It's really so easy. I had the opportunity to change my life around. I had the opportunity to use what I was doing back then now to fertilize my future and to help young men who probably was going down the same path as me. So when we so quick to point at young men and write them off and say, well, yeah, that's probably what he deserves and stuff like that, I use a testimony basically to say that anybody could change. And pointing and saying, well, yeah, this is what he was deserved. He troubled him on first. He was supposed to get stabbed. Yeah, young people make mistakes. That's the reality of it. And when we say we can tackle it as a holistic, when we say we can tackle it holistically and as a community, we also talk about reformation, and we also talk about helping young people and bringing them back on track and giving them opportunities. I had the opportunity to redirect my life due to the fact that my environment changed. And that was also even thanks to Marcia back then too, as well, with Chris Academy of Dance, me being in a different environment and understanding that it was different ways for me to channel and different outlets for me to channel what is I was dealing with internally. And a lot of young people battling with a lot of internal struggles. And it's caused them to implode and explode in crazy, crazy ways. But what tends to happen is that money tends to rule. And when you decide to have wicked agendas for quick gain, and you decide to put destruction in the hands of young men, these things will happen. Young men will continue to go in these directions because they tell themselves, this is the only outcome for me. This is the only place of opportunity for me to actually do something of at least purposeful. But I think as a community, we need to open up new opportunities, and we need to open up new outlets for young people to express themselves and to deal and help them to heal. And not be so quick to judge and not be so quick to condemn, but give them the chance to actually change. Give them the chance to show them that there's a different road. Allow them to actually blossom and become who they're supposed to be. And mistakes will happen, but allow young people to make the mistakes. Don't be so quick to condemn. So that's all I got to say on that.
Wow, I tell you, I hear that. I hear that very well. Dave, it's not that picture. If you could put up, there's a one in your WhatsApp. Yes, but go ahead, Mr. Murray, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say, I think we have not been paying we've only made passing mention of a very major element in this whole configuration of crime. The involvement, the participation, the activity of females. See, we have to look just now. It's that the men seem to be the foot soldiers, the men who go up front. But there is a role, and you've heard me talk in the past about hybridophilia, where women particularly are fascinated by crime and criminal, the network, the power, the money. We have to, that also operates, I don't know if Chico might be able to tell some of that another time, but that is something we should look at. What is the role and response of females, whether it be girlfriends, wives, aunts, mothers, grandmothers, or what? There is a role of females that we have to look at. Otherwise, we'll be only attacking one part of the problem and leave another major element unexplored, ununderstood, and probably misunderstood too.
Yes, most definitely. And while Miss McLean gathering her thoughts to give the final comment for the night, let me say that these two young men, when I spoke earlier, I focused a lot on the young man on the right. And because that's the young man that I know, so I was just talking about what I know about him. I don't know, I wasn't at the school, I don't know anything of the actual situation. The young man on the left, we need to continue to pray for him. I have his name here that a reverend sent to me just a while ago, actually Dr. Ferdinand, because our prayer group had been praying for the guy on the left, and I want to say his name because I said the other guy's name. He's Winiki Morris Bunting, a very nice name, Winiki Morris Bunting, and he's still not out of the woods. And because listen, we don't want to lose any more young men, okay? And so we're going to keep praying for Winiki Morris Bunting. We don't know anything about the case. We were not at the school at BCC. We're just going to make sure we pray for the guy, this guy who's still suffering from a stab wound, okay? And off from school and not able to go to school. All right. So we want to make sure that we do that. Yes, Miss McLean, can you close?
Yeah, well, let me start by saying, like you, I pray for these two young men, and I pray for the repose of the soul of Amani as well. But I want Marcia, and I think to continue something that Zico said, and I shouldn't say amused. I like to comment when somebody said, "Wait, Zico, somebody recognized you just now," and it was good to hear. But what I want to say is that in making reference to Dance Academy, you were speaking of what I have been talking to Mars about: action, getting things to happen. come in together to find ways to address some of these problems as a community. Because at the end of the day, we've tried to look at some of these horrific situations to understand why tragedy occurred and why tragedy continues to occur. But I think we have within us to do something to try to make a difference. And I was happy tonight to see the start of the program with the gentlemen and the young athletes, because that to me is one of the examples of an intervention that we have to make. You know, we have always been solutions driven, whether it was trying to help adults learn to read and write, or in this case, trying to write our youngsters and keep them on the right path.
Yes, yes. Wow, very well said. Lovely way to end. And I think me not getting on, because that gentleman was supposed to only have 15 minutes and he ended up with about 45 minutes because I couldn't. But I think it went, you know, Mr. Murray, the way it needed to go. And I'm so grateful for someone like you who, you know, I could say to you, you are on the shore right now and say, can I change? And you flowed with me, sir. And I want to say thanks for your humility and for accommodating and for, no, I'm serious. At 18, he's only 18, Zico, but
a young 18.
but
you know, it's not everybody.
You didn't notice my shirt tonight.
Yeah, well, I was looking at your shirt.
But you see, I was caught up in Zico's shirt. Sorry.
Listen. I was hoping because just a quick remark here.
Now I see it in its full splendor.
Chabigat Spoon said you have to have a certain level of clothes. You had your good clothes.
Yes.
Evening clothes and the home clothes. You said you also my good clothes. The good clothes, the home clothes is when you're around the house playing. The evening clothes when you bathe upon the evening, go down the gap or play with the balls. And the good clothes when you go to the doctor or the hospital or go to town. So I put on some of my good clothes tonight. And I hope
it has the colors I like too. But I was focusing on Zika's shirt. Sorry. I was
again, all credit to my wardrobe manager.
Right. Yes. And I actually noticed the shirt, sir. So tell her that she's doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
But it's a pleasure. I get the best panelists to work with, you know, and they're so accommodating, and especially, you know, all of them. I wanted to give a big shout out to Miss McLean, wonderful human being, and honestly, I am happy. I come on and I know they're gonna work with me, they're gonna flow with me, and I am so blessed. Don't let me start crying again. I'm done for the night. All right.
You call it teamwork. That's what I see. It's teamwork. Personal egos out the window. Teamwork.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Thank you, Zico, for jumping.
Good night,
on.
everybody.
Yes, God bless. Yes, bye-bye. Love you all, people. Bye-bye.
Later.
Yes, bye-bye.
As I look around my country, I see progress. Sometimes I just can't believe my eyes. In the north, south, east, and west, infrastructure on the rise. My deepest respect for those at the top, for the work they're doing here on the rock. Making great strides for our country design. Some folks call it a paradise. But while we are building up the countryside and the town, there is something that seems to be breaking down. Fortunately, we need no foreign money to rebuild this part of our country. We are the architects and we must go back and draw up a plan to restore the true beauty of this island. Declining morality affecting this sweet country. It's not like it used to be.